Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. After hours stocks are deep in the red on escalating geopolitical tensions. So whether you're trying to shield your portfolio from a potential crash or figuring out where Bitcoin fits into this global puzzle, strap in because we're breaking down the charts and the news to prepare for a week of extreme volatility. Let's get into it.
JJ's got the keys to the blockchain breeze. He's live every day, decode the mazes. JJ's cryptic corner where the coins keep turning. Log in now, the future's burning. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. Pixels glow, charts flow. Crypto whispers, secrets show. He cracks the code on this winding road. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic. Tune in, lean back, grab your coffee, hit the track. JJ's live, don't be late. Cryptic wisdom, seal your fate. JJ's cryptic.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Happy Saturday. How's everyone doing today? Sound off in the chat. I appreciate you guys for being here. What's going on? How's your guys' weekend? What's going on? Fahid, G Immortal, Gourmet Brands. Appreciate you guys. Crash, what else is new? Yeah. I mean, at this point, we're uninsurable. Hey, what's going on, guys? We are still in the bunker. Probably not leaving anytime soon, I'm not gonna lie. What's going on? Why am I so dark? Am I dark? I feel like I'm dark. Let me check really quick. Is this silly to do while I'm streaming? Nope, we're just dark. Okay. All right, let's see. Bitcoin currently trading at $66,403.11. Are we about to fall off a cliff's edge based on the fractal? Who knows, man. We got a poll in the chat for you guys to check out. Whoopsie. I don't know what the heck that was. I asked you guys, do you think we're getting a full 20% plus pullback for the S&P? Your options are yes, war, wrecked the bulls, no, will bounce very soon, yes, rip off the band-aid, or no, money printer coming. Let me know what you guys think. The market, not doing a whole lot. Crypto market's very indecisive, very sideways. Bitcoin's up 0.12% on the day, erasing most of the gains from Saturday candle. The only green Saturday candle, actually. We're green right now, but nothing solidified at the moment. What do we got? RSI breaking above the moving average, potentially bouncing off that moving average. Green dot of the momentum wave pointing to the upside with negative money flow. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Dominance breaking below 58.5. Potentially good news for alts. Even if they do dump, they maybe statistically would dump a little bit less than Bitcoin, just for this to continue to go down. ETH, where's ETH? Up 0.11%, in the same boat as Bitcoin. Struggling to stay above 2K. Getting above and staying above 2K is going to be a big deal for us. We got a confirmed green dot on market cipher right back here on the 4-hour time frame. So let's see if that results in significant upside or if downside is still in the cards. Right now, I'm kind of betting on downside, but I'm not entirely sold on it. I don't think I'll ever be entirely sold on downside. I'm very bad at shorting. I'm getting better at it as time goes on. It's kind of easy button shorting time right now. We got the Mercury coming out of retrograde marked on the Bitcoin chart just to see if there's any correlation. So far, the price has gone down since that happened. Blood Moon, we got upside. Mercury coming out of retrograde, we got downside. So the astrology stuff is playing a negative effect on itself right now. But Blood Moon is supposed to be negative, and we got upside. And then Mercury coming out of retrograde is supposed to be positive, and we got downside. So there's a little contradiction happening. And if you try to sell me, Blood Moon followed by Mercury retrograde is like an opposite effect, then I'm going to tell you that you're full of crap. But he said, we are bottom dwellers now. I think we were bottom dwellers like 4 months ago. But I appreciate the sentiment. Solana, struggling just as much as ETH and Bitcoin. Actually, a little bit more. It is below its local low. Let's see if it's going to continue the downside. Where are we going to see Solana? Yesterday, you guys voted decisively. 100% of the votes were against Solana seeing a single-digit price. So I guess based on that one, I don't know. I don't remember what it's called. The fucking, the set of people, the small set of people, the small sample size. You guys don't think that Solana's going to dump that much. So we'll see what happens. $82.11 right now. We saw a single-digit sol last bear market, but that was because it was kind of manipulated from FTX situation, and it barely spent any time down there. So I guess to get there now would be pretty crazy. I am kind of looking for this blue trend line to hold if it does get down there. This goes to show you that Solana's holding up better than most alts. You got your previous bear market low, and that established a trend as well, and you're still well above that trend even. So Solana did good, and we know that already because it made a new all-time high. It was one of the few coins that did make a new all-time high. And I would argue that it actually outperformed Ethereum. But right now, it might unfortunately outperform Ethereum to the downside as well. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. So far, we've broken below 82. If we lose 80, we're probably going to 75. Not financial advice. Total 3, struggling, or not really struggling, kind of holding 700 billion. Let's see if that holds. That'll be a big deal if it does. We've got a potential for an inverse BART. That'd be cool. But so far, it's just kind of looking like a ladder down or a stair step down. We'll see if we end up hitting that $540 billion head and shoulder target. Where is the head and shoulder? Is it this? I think it's this. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Yep, I think that's exactly what that is. Yeah. Let's see if 540 billion gets hit. That's a long way to go from here, but if we're planning ahead longer term, are we going to get a 33% drop out of total 3? If we're heading for a Black Monday scenario, then probably. That'd be my guess. 8 is down 0.08% on the day. Can't stay above 25 cents to save its life. We got a unconfirmed green dot on market cipher, green dot in the momentum wave, followed by a red dot immediately happening after it rejected 25 again. So are we going to break down from here? This is the lowest. We've had some established price action before we got a quick swift bounce and then support, and now we're below, rejecting. It's probably going to get a little bit funky, but I don't want to place a bet on that and get washed. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. Like I said, I'm famously bad at shorting. So Snack is not doing nothing. It's sitting at 42.66. Probably going to get worse before it gets better. The fractal was not far off, which sucks because it's not a good fractal. So we'll see how much farther it goes. It's a meme coin. The rest of the market's bleeding horribly, so you don't expect this thing to hold much value, to be completely honest. Midnight, defying all odds. I don't want to be that guy, but I would make a pretty strong argument here. And if I was a betting man, I would bet that this was being manipulated to the upside to make it look not as bad, to get you to buy. So is that true? No, I don't know. I have no proof. It's all alleged parody. Don't sue me. But it's a little sus. For some reason, this is magically bullish while everything else is bearish. Tishu said, yo, what is a price cheerleader? I don't know, actually. Lunar Editor said, might as well rename the S&P to the Mines of Moria soon. Yeah, it's probably going to get pretty dicey. XRP, probably heading for $1. H-bar, probably heading for, where were we heading for H-bar? I would say 5 cents at the very least. SWE, these are my bear market targets right now. SWE heading for 50 cents. Ondo heading for 10 cents. Arrow heading for 10 cents. Polkadot. Oof. Oh man, that's so sad. I like Polkadot doing good for a minute, but it's getting spicy again. Where's Polkadot going? Bear market bottom? Probably 50 cents. Avalanche, $5. Chainlink, $5. Doge, 5 cents. I don't know. Just throwing out numbers. This is all alleged, just for fun. Gold. Gold's still up 2.54%, as it's been sideways in the 24-hour market. For some reason, gold and silver don't trade on the weekends. Like, I know that obviously they don't, but even tokenized gold and silver, they're pretty flat on the weekends. It's weird. It's like really, really flat. So we'll see if anything comes of that come Monday. For now, we can just observe the green candles from Friday and be like, wow, this is actually still up, even though it's not. DXY broke above 100 and is staying above 100 again since Friday. 100.19. Dollar go high. Bitcoin gonna die. Dow Jones 45,166 closed yesterday. Looks like doo-doo, and further doo-doo probably in the books. Ooh, NASDAQ doing what I thought it was gonna do. Taking a big fat dump. 2369. Very nice. Are we heading all the way down to 21K though? 21.5. We'll see. S&P at the bottom of my fractal. Are we going to get a bounce at 62, 63, or is it going down to 6K? We do have, what is that? Ooh, there's kind of a trend line here. We got previous resistance turned support, and then we got a fake out below it. But we know that this has been like foreshadowing for future. Are we just going to come down to touch 47? Where's our 20% pullback? That's at 56. Okay, so in order for it to be in a bear market, we do have to get $5,600 on the S&P 500, so we'll keep an eye on that level. But for now, all eyes are on 6K. NVIDIA, down 2.17% yesterday, $166.56. Tesla, down 2.76% yesterday, $360. MicroStrategy, a.k.a. Big V Coffee. Michael Saylor's great aunt's inheritance, actually. She was a Duchess of Brussels, which is where the B comes from, but nobody really wanted to drink Brussels coffee, so they named it Big B Coffee. I don't know why. Somebody in the family was fat or something like that. So Michael Saylor adopted the logo to honor his late aunt, the Duchess of Brussels. MicroStrategy, 125.68. Is she going to break 125 and head towards 100 next? We will see what happens on Monday. Bitcoin dominance, we mentioned below 58.5, and Bitcoin itself up 0.11% on the day, but struggling, suffering. It's turning red and getting pretty ugly. Lunar Entity teach you those who watch Ben's Take now. Ben's Take. Is that a show? Lunar Entity said most firms have limited redemptions. This price action is bottlenecked. Main reason I'm curious to see what happens when the floodgates open. Metals said, yo, what's going on? 88 Metals. Tishu said, Bitcoin to 39K. 39K seems crazy. Lunar Entity said, I bet some of the participants being blocked might consider less restrictive investments in the future, especially if they get burned by the bottleneck. 150%. I will say, being invested in a volatile asset like Bitcoin or crypto in general, it sucks that it's that volatile, but I don't mind it because it's liquid. You know what I mean? I can perfectly take all of my liquidity out whenever the hell I want. So that makes me feel a lot better about it. Tisha said, Ben's crypto video. Is there a specific Ben? Are you talking about Ben Cowan? Because there's also Ben Armstrong. There are multiple Bens in crypto. I'm just saying. Ben there. Lunar Entity. Yep. We got 6 votes on the poll, 12 people watching. Let's get a couple more votes on the poll. Do you think we're getting a full 20% plus pullback for the S&P? So far, 67% of you guys said yes, war wrecked the bulls. Lunar Entity said being able to exit at any time might be a luxury in the future, and that is unsettling. Yeah. Yep. Fahid said, LOL, Minds of Moria. Who's the Balrog? And Goblins, Lunar. Trump. Trump is the Balrog. Hello. The Goblins are the Jewish guy. What's his name? Is it Netanyahu? I don't know. I confuse all their names in the Middle East. I'm sorry. I'm a racist American man. Excuse me. Tisha said, yes, Ben Cowan. Is CRV going to do poll on me? I don't know. Why don't you ask Ben Cowan? What is poll doing? Yeah, I'm going to say yes. It hasn't even filled its wick, though, from Binance. That's actually kind of impressive. Lunar Entity said AIPAC is the goblins. I don't know who that is. Artificial intelligence, poop and crap. I'm sorry. I'm being childish today. But it's with good reason. It's because I enjoy life. Let's get into the news segment. We got a Mark Chadwick copium post to start off. Let me get a sip. Cheers, guys. Happy Saturday. You know what's wonderful about this? Very, very soon here, I will get I will have the honor, the privilege of traveling to Georgia. Favorite place in the world. Lunar Entity said, sorry, YouTube. Oh, wow. I would investigate AIPAC in your free time. Ah, okay. Yes. I will not do that because I don't want to be put on a list. Teacher said, yes, so CRV is done. I mean, if the entire market's done, your Ben Cowan is telling you the entire market's done. He hates altcoins, so yes, I would sell everything because of Ben Cowan. Not financial advice, though. You should definitely buy his course, though. Definitely pay for his course. Mark Chadwick said, this is one of the most important charts in crypto. Okay, let's lock it. And nobody's paying attention to it. The Fed is pumping treasury purchases exactly like they did in early 2020. It took a few months, but it eventually went insane. Bitcoin went from 4K to 69K in approximately 18 months. Over 1,500%. Altcoins outperformed. 10x to 100x returns were normal. It's the same setup. People wrote crypto off right before it went parabolic. QE/not QE is already here. HODL. Let's go. Mark Chadwick with the copium. Appreciate you, Mark. Pac-Man579 said, China. Oh, this cracked me up. We gotta listen to this one. It's really funny. Lighten the mood a little bit after the Mark Chadwick copium. Are you guys ready? Here we go. Oh, shoot. I don't know if I can play it. I'm gonna play it anyway. I don't care. The guy's listening to Freebird. And he just drives into the dude. I'm gonna let it play one more time. Ready? This guy gets out trying to rob him, and then... Oh, that's such a good sound, dude. The sound is so good. I mean, clearly the guy filmed that himself and dubbed it over the dash cam, but it's so funny, dude. Perfect. That's beautiful comedy right there. Yeah, for real. Like, if you're gonna try to stand me up and, like, block the highway and rob me, I'm just gonna run you over. And the fact that that dude so perfectly bounced off of the hood of the car was pretty epic. Tisha said, I see a nice double bottom on CRV and also on its Bitcoin pair, but that has failed before on other alts, so not sure. Bitcoin 66,340. President Trump says the U.S. will be the undisputed Bitcoin and crypto superpower of the world because he's going to bankrupt everybody, buy it all when it's at zero, and then he's going to like make it the legal currency or something. He's going to do something stupid. More stupid than the things that he's already done. Saudi Arabia's east-west oil pipeline bypassing the Strait of Hormuz is now pumping at full capacity of 7 million barrels per day. Very cool. I hope they got that thing underground or something. Kobe SE letter. ETFs are off to their strongest start to a year in history. Global ETFs have attracted $518 billion in inflows year to date, the highest for any year on record. This is 30% more than last year's pace and over 5 times the average at this point of the year. Inflows have been primarily driven by U.S. ETFs, with the S&P 500 ETF VOO attracting $55.7 billion. This is followed by the money market ETF IQMM at $22.4 billion. And the S&P 500 ETF SPYM at $21.4 billion. Investors are pouring into ETFs more than ever. Tisha said, is JJAI? He read my comment, but no input. I mean, I already gave my input. 88 said, and the rich get richer. Right. Do they, though? I feel like the rich are invested in assets. Are they getting richer? Home values are dropping, the stock market's dropping, gold and silver's dropping. The only thing that's going up, I guess, is bond yields. Lunar Entity said, Michael, every breaks down the current geopolitical tensions and how it relates to the collapse of the global interconnectivity. Yeah, I don't know, man. I unfortunately, I have a strong feeling that it's going to continue, just especially because we didn't hear anything this weekend. And usually Trump's like, oh, Friday night, here's the news. And there's nothing. So there's no progress being made. And now there's like things escalating. There's U.S. troops getting injured and stuff. So they're going to get congressional approval to actually go to war. And it's going to be a big waste of money. My taxes are going to go up. And it's just going to F up my day-to-day. And I'm not a fan of my day-to-day being effed up. I like my day-to-day to be benefited. If I'm not benefiting from the president's actions, then I'm at a deficit. And that makes me not enjoy the president. Normally I like not giving a crap, but I'm starting to have to give a crap. And I'm not a fan of giving craps. 88 said the Saudi pipeline I was referring to. Oh, the rich getting richer? I mean, I say what you want about the Saudis. I think that they're kind of hilarious. I don't remember the entity's name, but like one of the global oil entities that are like, we want the prices to be the same everywhere. They were like, we want you guys to join us. And they were like, no, no thanks, we're good. We're going to just charge whatever the hell we want because it's our oil. So, bye. And I think it was the Saudis. It was somebody in the Middle East. Again, I'm just a dumb white guy from America, so excuse me. The Iran war officially hits 1 month mark, which is when Trump said it was going to end, and it has not ended. In a major escalation, Yemen's Houthi group officially joined the war with a ballistic missile launch at Israel just as the war hit its 1 month mark. All eyes are now on the Bab el-Mandab Strait. If closed, the world loses another 6 million barrels of daily oil supply. I think we go through 100 million, so 6 is like 6%. JY's Avenger said, nice thumbnail, JJ. Thank you. Thank you very much. Major escalation. Okay, Saudi Arabia's east-west pipeline has officially reached its full capacity of 7 million barrels per day as the Strait of Hormuz remains shut per Bloomberg. With the Houthis now entering the war, the concern for oil markets is that the Red Sea becomes the new front, or a new front. And again, explain to me how this is not a world war, but that's fine. We got 6 votes. I'm going to end the current poll. We're going to go on to poll number 2. I asked you guys, do you think we see a full 20% pullback for the S&P? 67% of you guys said yes, war wrecked the bulls. 33% of you guys said no, we'll bounce very soon. We got a total of 6 votes. Next poll. This one's going to be entertaining. Get a little divisiveness. Which asset performs the best in the next bull run? Bitcoin. Whoops, hang on. Gold, stocks, or oil / energy. All right. Energy, I think, where is the poll? There it is. Which asset performs the next in the best? Which asset performs best in the next bull run? Bitcoin, gold, stocks, or oil and energy? Pickerick said, what's up? What's going on, Pickerick? Happy Saturday, my friend. Bitcoin magically turning green, 66,445. Is it going to go up from here, or is this the end of the road? U.S. technology stocks have rarely ever been this cheap. The S&P 500 Information Technology Index is now trading at just a 4% forward PE premium to the S&P 500, the lowest since January 2019. This percentage has fallen 32 points since October 2025, one of the largest discounts on record. In other words, tech stocks are at the cheapest relative to their broader market in 7 years. By comparison, the technology sector was around 47% more expensive than the S&P 500 at the June 2024 peak. Tech stocks are now on track to become cheaper than the S&P 500 for the first time since 2017. Is it time to buy tech? If this is only the beginning and the situation in Iran is about to get worse, probably not a good time to buy anything. Except for food rations. U.S. consumer sentiment is deteriorating as inflation expectations surge. Consumer sentiment index fell 3.3 points in March to 53.3, its lowest since December 2025. The index is now below the 2008 financial crisis low and almost in line with the 1980s recession bottom. This comes as one-year inflation expectations jumped 0.4 percentage points to 3.8%. The largest monthly increase since April 2025. Around 66% of consumer interviews were conducted after the start of the Iran war on February 28th, with those respondents reporting significantly worse sentiment and higher inflation expectations than those surveyed before that date. The decline was broad-based across all age groups and middle and higher income consumers showing particularly large drops as surging gasoline prices and volatile financial markets weighed on confidence. Consumer sentiment among Americans is at crisis levels. That's pretty crazy considering that the S&P is not actually that far off from its top. Lunar Entity said technology will get a lot cheaper if the Asian market implodes from energy rationing. Regardless, permanent damage has been done by both sides to the world's commodities infrastructure. I think they should all just blow each other up and fuck off. That's my take at this point. Turkey's central bank sold 58 tons of gold worth over $8 billion in just 2 weeks. Gold reserves dropped 6 tons in the week ending March 13th and another 52 tons in the week ending March 20th, bringing total reserves down to 513 tons, marking the largest drop in 7 years. Over half of the gold was used to borrow U.S. dollars via swaps, with the rest sold outright on the open market. The gold sales also exceed the 43 tons of outflows from all global gold-backed ETFs over the same 2-week period, making Turkey the single largest source of gold liquidation worldwide. This comes as the central bank is burning its FX reserves to defend the lira, which has come under intense pressure from surging energy import costs and rising U.S. dollar demand since the Iran war began. As a result, total Turkey FX reserves dropped $40 billion to $175 billion, the lowest since Q3 2025. Rising energy costs are forcing Turkey to dump gold. Is that why the price is going down? 88 said, how you make out on that short from last night, JJ? It's actually doing pretty good right now. It was in the red for a little bit, but I held out. I held out, and I'm okay right now. Yeah. Luckily, I'm shorting Cardano, which just goes down all the time. Cointelegraph posted. The next halving is just over 2 years away. Still plenty of time for some huge changes. Wow. Bitcoin halving clock, 2 years, 3 days. And however many hours and minutes since this. March 31st. Estimated halving date, March 31st, 2028. So we got 2 years. That's crazy. Lunar Entity said Iran had one of the highest participation scores in the scamdemic. I haven't trusted anything that happened in the world at face value. Yeah, that's what sucks the most, I think, honestly, is like all of this could be theater, and I don't know if that makes it better or worse, because like people are actually dying, people are losing their lives, and it's affecting people's lives, not only like from aggression and explosions and, you know, munitions and stuff like that, but like just everyday people. People are probably losing their jobs and shit because they can't afford gas to get to the work because it doubled. Some places it got even worse, and they're downplaying the statistics too. They're like, gas is only up $1. I'm like, okay, gas is up like $2 where I live. It's bad, dude. It is so bad right now. Bitcoin 66,440 and 5 cents. Cointelegraph, ETF flows. Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol spot ETFs saw net outflows. Bitcoin minus 225 million. ETH minus 48.5 million. Sol minus 7.8 million. XRP 0. Is that weird? I feel like XRP being at 0, this has happened multiple times. Is there just no activity, or is it just like a canceling itself out? 88 said if it's a hoax or scripted, it's diabolical. Right. I mean, we're getting into big conspiracy territory when we talk about that. But I would say it was hard to believe like 5 years ago. But with the Island Boy files being published, all of the conspiracies basically being labeled as true. And some of them were like just the most batshit crazy out there conspiracies, and they're pretty much true. literally any conspiracy brought forward to me at this point, I'm like, well, that's probably like 80% true. And that's crazy. That blows my mind. That's the world that we've come to. The people that think that those things aren't true are now the conspiracy theorists. The people that are like, that seems a little crazy. Those people are just looked at like they're weirdos now. Because everything came true. Gosh, this woman. It's terrifying. Elizabeth Warren calls for a probe into Bitmain over alleged security risks and Trump family ties. I bet you she probes every man she comes into contact with. Huge. Thailand secures safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Good for them. ETH, the Ethereum ETF, has now seen 8 straight days of net outflows. Dude, Tom Lee is about to lose that beautiful hair of his. I'm concerned. I'm concerned for Tom Lee's hairline. I am. He's going to join the ranks of me. Big crypto ATM spotted in South Africa. I don't know how this is big at all. Crypto ATMs are awful. The spread is really bad, and these are just used around the planet for like fulfilling scams. So I would highly recommend against any kind of Bitcoin ATM. You're being scammed. Even if you're not sending money to some scammer that you're on the phone with at the moment, you're being scammed because of the spread. The spread on these, just imagine this. Let's say Bitcoin's 66,407 and you pay 5% higher to buy it at the ATM. Let's say you want to sell it, just that instance for some reason, or maybe the price is flat for a month and you want to sell it. You're going to pay 5% lower, or you're going to be paid 5% lower because of the spread. It's 5% in either direction, and this is all in theory. I don't know what the actual spread is. It might be worse for all I know. So technically speaking, when you purchase something with a spread, if it's 5% in either direction, the second you buy, you are down 10% already. Are you going to take a 10% loss just for the convenience of an ATM? And how convenient is it when you have a phone in your pocket? You know what I mean? Most are 8% here. That's crazy. 8% is insane. The reason I left Voyager like 2 months before they collapsed is because I learned what a spread was. It blows my mind, dude. Lunar Entity said, Joe Kent resigns, cites concerns with why we went over there, and is now under investigation by the wonderful FBI, says it all. Yeah. Mind you, this is the guy in charge of the counterterrorism, and even he had to nope out of whatever the blueprint for this theater was. Yeah, it's weird. And it makes me concerned that there's going to be some kind of false flag as well, which is never good. Any way that you look at it, false flag is not okay. Even if it's like, well, it's just soldiers so that we can justify we need to get congressional approval for an act of war. That's not okay either. People are serving your country. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. I think it's stupid. Our current government is pathetic. Fun fact, nearly 90% of all stablecoin volume comes from Tether and Circle's USDC. I don't know how this is a fun fact. I think everybody knows that. I'm actually kind of alarmed that it's not more than 90%. What are people using? S&P 500. We saw a similar dip in March 2025, and the S&P 500 printed a new all-time high. Is it going to happen again? Let's actually ask that question. That's a good question for the chat. We're 50-50 right now. Or no, we're not. I'm going to end it. We got 6 votes again. I asked you guys which asset performs the best in the next bull run. 50% of you guys said stocks. 33% said Bitcoin. 17% said gold. Nobody said oil and energy. Lunar Entity said, if a false flag happens, my bet is on it involving podcast personalities. No accident that the podcast world hasn't been annihilating legacy platforms. My bet is on it involving podcast personalities. What? That would be crazy. I'm glad I don't have a podcast. Okay. The next question, is this S&P dip going to mimic the exact same one we had last year with a bounce to all-time high next? Yes. History rhymes. No. We're doomed. Yes. It's Trump will save us. Or no. it's going to look way different. It's going to be way different. Yeah, there we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the poll in the chat. Is the S&P 500 dip going to mimic the exact same one we had last year with a bounce to all-time high next? John Tujo said, I'm no Trump fan, or Republican for that matter, but it's easy to say whoever is in charge sucks. I can't imagine Harris running shit. I don't care. I don't care. Right now, Trump literally sucks balls, and I think he's the worst president we have ever had because he's the president right now, and I'm paying $5 for a gallon of gas. Never in my entire life, under any sitting president in the United States, has gas ever been this expensive. So, fuck Donald Trump. Lunar Entity said, my vote is on 2015-16 Double Dipper. Let's go take a look. Where is it? Why am I having so much trouble? There we go. Go to the weekly. Boop-a-doo. Should we copy a fractal? I wish there was like a... This is probably in the paid version. I refuse to pay. I refuse to pay. I wish there was a way to... Can I like save these drawings and like tuck them into a folder so that I can draw on a new chart but not lose? That's probably a thing. Damn it. All right. I just whacked my toe. Ouch. I hit my toe, guys. 88 said you're sassy tonight, sir. I'm in a weird mood. The coffee is so ridiculously strong. I don't know what's happening. My fiance may have spiked it with caffeine for some reason. I don't know. I blame all of my problems on everybody else. What the songs say, F Donald Trump? I don't know. Vahid said, did we get all the email leaks from Kash Patel? LOL. I saw them. I do enjoy how much of a normal guy he looks like. Like, it was actually kind of funny. They're like, we have your civilian email. And it's just like pictures of him like throwing it up. He's like, it's just a bunch of normal pictures of him. They're like, we got you now, you normal mother effer. Look at how normal and boring this guy is. Everyone's like, oh my gosh. He enjoys sports and beer? 88 said, life's good over there, I can tell. I'm chilling. Fahid. Okay. J. West Venture said, rip Nipsey Hussle. I don't know what that means, but I like it. We were pulling a fractal from 2015, 2016. That's 2022. 15, 16. All right, that's what we're going to do. We're going to pull the fractal. Let's see. I'm going to go from here. I'm just going to try to center it. Let's see what we can make with this bad boy. Obviously, things are a lot more large now. That's what she said. So let's see if we can make this work. Double dipper with the lower low. Can I stretch this? Yes, I can. Ooh, I actually really like that for touching that yellow trend line as well. All right, so here's what I'm going to do then. With that pulled, I don't want that extra hanging off the back there because I have OCD, excuse me. So I'm going to go pull it again from here. God, look at that monstrous red candle. That's so nasty. And actually, let's just see how far it goes, just for fun. Why not? I've been watching Peaky Blinders. I want to suddenly say bloody for everything now. All right, we are on August 7th, 28. Yep. A little more. Pull. Okay, how's that look? It looks pretty dang good to me. All right, let's get rid of this guy. Plop this in place. Bam. Little double bottom off of that 61.47, which is arbitrary. Well, no, it's not. Previous top. I kind of like that. I like that quite a bit. He passed away. Nipsey Hussle made a song called F Donald Trump. He's an iconic rapper. Okay, well, rest in peace, my friend. We got 16 people watching, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. Spread the word. Subscribe if you are new. We stream every single day. It's a ton of fun. All right. So, the current fractal, I gotta make more transparent, I guess. We'll see if that comes to fruition later. But for now, our focus is on this little, we got our double bottom, which this makes sense for the bond market as well. Because we're going to have a short-term recovery. They don't like to crash things quick. It goes back to that, like, hard times create good men create good times, or something like that. Strong men. Hard times create strong men. Strong men. Swear to God. Strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. We are in the weak men create hard times, I believe. And by that, I mean, instead of, which this is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but we're in such a bad spot in the economy that we kind of need to crash things down. Now, we wouldn't have needed to do this before, but in order to fix everything, they need to crash things down. Instead of crashing things down, should we go to the bar? Instead of crashing things down, they're like, well, how do we do it? Like, I want to do it really slow because I don't want it to hurt. And now we have this slow burn downtrend, and everyone's getting bled out and bored to death. And they're like, we're at war, but it's like a slow war. We haven't had like congressional war yet. So we're just kind of like doing a little skirmish that'll eventually slowly escalate to war. It's like the slowest, most miserable. And it's because instead of just pulling the plug and being like, all right, the economy's got to crash for like 6 months and then we'll be good, they're like, well, we'd rather drag it out for 5 years of just miserable bull crap. I hope I'm wrong, but that's what it seems like to me. And that's the weak men trying to fix it right now, because they're like, oh, I don't want it to hurt. I don't want it to look bad. I don't want to be the recessionary president, you know. All right. Double dipper before the face ripper, then rip. Yes, Jack the Ripper. John Tuccio said, I got a big short on Bitcoin tonight, right until 50K. I don't mind that, actually. I'm still on the boat for my 51.5. Jay West Adventure said, Ben Cowan just tweeted that recently, asking where we are at now. We are definitely in weak men create hard times with so many simps enriching off OnlyFans girls. I guess I don't know how to feel about that statement specifically. I feel that it's weird that people go after the OnlyFans girls. I think that's cuck behavior, going after the OnlyFans girls. If I could take pictures of my naked body and become a millionaire, I would do that so fast. I would do that so fast. It's not even a joke. So, and if you disagree, then maybe you're better than me. I don't really give a crap. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where things go, man. I do think it'd be funny if Elon bought OnlyFans and shut it down just to create some competition with the other apps. But I mean, I also find it silly to pay for that stuff because it's free everywhere. But maybe there's a dynamic where people feel better because they're paying for it. I don't know, man. Some people just want to be a sugar daddy. All right. So allegedly, according to this fractal, if we're playing by these rules, then we could see a potential bottoming rather soon around 62.5, which is funny because that's where this other fractal that I made more transparent, that's exactly where that goes too. So that'd be kind of cool. See how that plays out, and then see which one plays out amongst the two over time. I don't want that to be too transparent. Never find it. Like, are we going to bounce and then fully recover into September, or are we going to go for another low into September? I don't know. All right. For credit, I mean, okay, hang on. Lunar Entity. JY's Adventure. All right, we start with 88 metals. Didn't they just reset with the vid? They might have. They printed a lot, though. I think that's the problem, is they printed so much. It seemed like they were trying to, maybe, and then they got cold feet and printed. I don't know. That's my conspiracy brain without getting the tinfoil hat out yet. Lunar Entity said, if you go to that credit chart, it's extremely hard for markets to gain traction with spreads wound so tight. We are in historically low territory. I can see one more leg down to all-time lows, and that would be similar to 2019 for credit, I mean. Credit going lower means money is cheaper and assets go up. 88 said to each their own. OnlyFans probably worth a lot, eh? I think Tether is the only other company that makes more per employee than OnlyFans. I think Tether is number one. Like, per employee, they make a ridiculously crazy amount of money. And I think that they're not actually paying their employees that much money. But if you do the math, like, let's say Tether made $10 billion. They only have 10 employees. It's $1 billion per employee. Let's say OnlyFans made $8 billion and they only have 10 employees. That's $800 million per employee. You know what I mean? Like, they just do that math. I believe it goes Tether, OnlyFans, and then I don't know who else. Probably like Amazon or something. 88 said OnlyFans has been exploring sale options valuing the company at $5.5 billion to $8 billion. How hard would it be to make your own? You know what I mean? You just have to make sure that your KYC is top notch, because you get into territory that you don't really want to get into as a entrepreneur very quickly when you're dealing with adult stuff like that. JY said, also Gen Z men are failing at dating, population crisis, and the economy. Well, no explanation needed. So here's my issue with that. I just watched the Channel 5 interview with Clavicular, and I have some thoughts. I thought that I was going to morbidly hate this man, and I actually don't, but I think he's an idiot. There's definitely a crisis with men and dating. I think that there's a crisis with women in dating as well. I think that there's just a broad dating crisis. I think everybody sucks and no one is willing to admit that, so they just point blame at the other side. And I think accountability, is probably the biggest issue. Like, if you're just rotting on the couch all day, why do I want to date you? Same goes for the person asking that question. Because everyone's rotting on the couch all day. You have to want to improve yourself, care for yourself, and then care for other people. But you got to take care of yourself first. That's my opinion. Okay, we got a lot. Hang on. JW's Avenger. Yep, JW's Avenger also said the new generation got screwed and the boomers got the golden age. Pickle Rick said, LOL, just realized I was 20 minutes behind. You read my message and I thought I said that like 25 minutes ago. That happens so much, dude. I don't know why that happens. 88 said OnlyFans is arguably the world's most revenue efficient company with only 42 to 46 full-time staff generating approximately 37.6 million in net revenue per employee. There you go. Isn't that crazy? He's a kid, but he's not far off in my opinion. Who? Clavicular? Tishu said, will STX break the 2022 low? Let's go take a look. I'm assuming a lot of alts are probably going to do that. 2022 low. I think the wick might even be worse off than the 2022 low. Is it? I'm gonna say if Bitcoin's going as low as everyone claims it's going to, probably. If like it already broke that trend line. That was a beautiful trend line. 25 big psychological level. What's your low? 19.9? Yes. I'm gonna say yes. Not with any conviction, because I don't really know the project that well, but I'm just going to say yes. And this is the unfortunate reality. You might really care for that project. I don't really know enough about it. If you would have asked me that about Cardano 8 months ago, I would have told you were a crazy, dumb idiot. Now look at Cardano. Cardano's a project I care very dearly about. You're not supposed to do that. I advise highly against that. Not financial advice. But look where we are. Lessons learned. Lunar Entity said, I saw cyber terrorists used ICP to attack Iran. Did a double take. What? Did they really? That's actually kind of funny. ICP is just ruining everyone's lives all at once, simultaneously. The holders and Iran. Whole countries are getting screwed by ICP. All right, let's continue. Lunar Entity, if you want to share that ticker, by the way, for that credit chart, we'll go look at that as well. The crypto market gained and lost $300 billion in about 20 days. That's crazy. Let's go look at the 10-year really quick. US 10-year. See if Trump's going to do anything. Oh my gosh, that's very close. It's very close. It almost hit 4.5. What's the highest he's let it get to during his presidency so far? 23, 24, 25, right there, hit 4.8. It looks like it's consolidated, actually, like that. That's consolidated. That's a little spooky. Is this thing gonna pop? Doesn't chart. I don't think it plays out the same way that other things have played out in the past, but I don't know. Lunar Entity said, ask Rock to explain canister worm and team PCP. It's wild. Fast. Is there? Are those the only two options now? That's stupid. Explain canister worm and team PCP. I'm gonna get put on a list now. All right, 10 years out of control, 4.42. Is this thing gonna hit 5%? Has it ever? It has to have, right? Yeah. Ooh, Jesus, what was the Biden administration doing? That's crazy. Crazy. Too much printing, man. Look at that. Look at that. That's money printer territory right there. That's gotta be what that is. Wow. Look at, they were doing such a good job, man. They were doing so good. Well, were they? We're back at 2007, 2008 territory. Uh-oh. Not that that's relevant. You know, it was dropping before then, so. I don't know. I don't know. Definitely entertaining. I can't believe gold and silver, man. Gold and silver's the weirdest one to me so far. 88 said Grok search history instantly flagged. Lunar Entity said it wasn't just the Biden admin. We would crap so tight after 2011. We wound crap. So it's like we would crap so tight. NFT Wizard here. How you doing, my friend? Cheers. I miss NFTs, man. I do. I really do. NFTs, the market was a different place back then. It was fun. People talk crap today, but I thoroughly enjoyed NFTs. All right. We've got updates. Spot Bitcoin ETFs saw 296 million in outflows as investors step back from directional risk amid macro uncertainty. Michael Saylor says it's time to put laser eyes back on. Giga Chad Saylor strikes again. Cynthia Loomis says Clarity Act will deliver the strongest developer protections. That's good, actually. I like that because I feel like developers have been getting screwed left and right for the past probably 10 years. J.O.S. Adventure said you actually made money on NFT days. I did. I really did. Were you alt season back then? Oh, I'm talking about NFTs. I made money with alts too, but like I feel like people got a little silly with NFTs. They kind of went all in for no reason. No rhyme or reason, and then they're like, how come I'm not making any money? Thinking that you could just buy whatever and flip it, and that wasn't the case. And I was a little more picky. Not like I wasn't no expert nuance. There was no. I just bought things that I liked the art of, and I would list it for twice the price, and then a week would go by and it would sell. I only did it like probably 10, 15 times. J.Y.'s Adventure said this 23-24 bull run was the worst, if you want to call it that. See, it's so, that's where the nuance comes into play. People are semantics. Everyone's like, oh, it was a bull run. You what do you mean it wasn't a bull run? Bitcoin's at 120K. And I don't know, it's for me, a bull run is more than one asset. And it just kind of seemed like institutions loaded up and it sent the price high on that one asset. What's your favorite chain? NFT Wizard says, what's your favorite chain? For what? I guess it would be the same for NFTs, and I don't really do NFTs anymore, though. Normally, I would be very, I would just answer Cardano very easily, but I don't think that that's the answer anymore. I think I like Solana. I have not tried Base yet. I wanted more from Sui. Sui was great, but it kind of fell off. Coin? Like Coinbase? My favorite coin would probably be SNEC. If we're not talking like the base blockchain, I'm going to go with SNEC. And that's just because the community and the team, I think they're brilliant. 88 said, that's and the digital land like Sandbox and Decentraland. Yeah, that got funky, didn't it? Pickerick said Sandbox was my biggest dud. Sandbox and Decentraland were interesting to me because it was so expensive to like play. The barrier to entry was way too high for Sandbox and Decentraland. It was like you had to spend like $3,000 to buy a character to play, and nobody's doing that. Like, are you spending $3,000 on a PlayStation? Hell no. $700 is almost too much. That's a lot of money, bro. That's also why I think maybe they made PCs something magically more expensive, because the consoles were getting destroyed, dude. I literally, when the PlayStation 5 came out, I was like, I'm just building a PC now. Build a PC for myself, my daughter, and my fiance. And I spent $300 less per system than I would have spent on a PlayStation. Was Minecraft quality? I love Minecraft, dude. Minecraft is so good. I would actually argue against that. I think that's insulting to Minecraft. Okay, let's see what Grok said. Canister Worm and Team PCP, closely related elements of a major ongoing supply chain attack campaign that emerged in March 2026, primarily targeting open source ecosystems. Team PCP also tracked under aliases like PCP Cat, Percy PCP, Shellforce, and Deadcat X3. Financially motivated threat actor groups specializing in cloud-native credential theft, supply chain compromises, data exfiltration, extortion, and more recently, destructive wiper attacks. They self-identify publicly via Telegram channels and have been linked to collaborations with groups like Lapsus for extortion and emerging ransomware outfit called Vect. Their campaign began with high-profile compromises of security tools and quickly cascaded into other ecosystems. Core tactic, compromise CI/CD pipelines, especially GitHub Actions, to steal secrets, tokens from runner environments, then weaponize those tokens to publish malicious package versions. They've hit developer workstations, cloud credentials, Kubernetes clusters, and more. The group is notable for speed, cross-ecosystem pivoting, and innovative infrastructure, including blockchain-based command and control. Canister Worm specific self-propagating NPM worm deployed by Team PCP, direct follow-on their Trivi compromise. In short, Team PCP is the attacker group behind a sophisticated multi-ecosystem supply chain campaign. Canister Worm is their signature self-spreading NPM malware that uses novel blockchain ICP infrastructure for C2. The campaign highlights how quickly a single CI/CD breach can turn into an exponential worm across the open source world if you maintain NPM PYPI packages or run CI pipelines that pull these tools. Auditing for the affected versions and rotating secrets is strongly recommended. What? Rotating secrets? Why do I have secrets? That's crazy. I have a feeling that the cyber security, cyber threat world is going to get a lot more sophisticated, especially with artificial intelligence kind of spearheading a new, like a technology renaissance. More people are more excited about technology than ever before, and it's so easily accessible. I have a feeling stuff like this is going to start to happen more and more, because it's going to be a lot more accessible, and it's especially easy to understand for these kids nowadays that are just born with an iPad in their hand. You know what I mean? Saeed said, hi, sir. How you doing, Saeed? Happy Saturday, happy Sunday for you, I think. Good morning, my friend. Lunar Entity said the ICP canister actually protected the worm by wrapping it in a smart contract. Iran couldn't stop it. Dfinity actually shut the canister down. It bypassed all cybersecurity measures by doing this. That's crazy. All right, we got 10 votes on the current poll. I asked you guys, is the S&P dip going to mimic the exact same one we had last year with a bounce to all-time high next? 40% of you guys said yes, history rhymes. 10% said no, we're doomed. 20% said yes, Trump will save us, and 30% said no, no, it's going to be way different. All right. Let's end the poll and get another poll going. Yes, history rhymes. You guys think it's going to be the same? All right, next poll. Nope, not a Q&A. Next poll is going to be... What is the next poll going to be? This is a good one. What is the greatest risk to Bitcoin? Quantum computing? AI? I can't type today, man. China / others banning, oops, or stablecoins stealing thunder. Start the poll. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the poll in the chat. What is the greatest risk to Bitcoin? Quantum computing, AI, artificial intelligence, China, others banning it, or stablecoins stealing its thunder? Let me know what you guys think. Lunar Entity said, I wondered why AWS would work with ICP, and now I wonder why. They're being targeted by hacker leveraging smart contracts through ICP. What a mess. Interesting. Yeah, it's a crazy world we're heading into, man. Black Mirror is becoming more and more of a reality. Now let's get a blank canvas over here from Grok. The other day I asked you, actually, let's see, can I just find it? Hang on. Let me go over here and find it. Let's do a couple more news segments first. Throwback, on this day in 2013, Bitcoin's market cap crossed the $1 billion mark for the first time ever. That's pretty epic. Pretty epic. All right, here we go. I got it. The other day, yesterday, I think, we asked Grok's input on the war. We said, what do you think is going to happen with the Middle East situation? Give me your play-by-play for when and how you think it ends, and the effect it'll have on the markets. Okay. And then I said, so if I were investing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The other day I asked you, and you gave me your answer. Can you update me on your thoughts on this since then? Let's see if there's any updated input from Grok regarding the situation in the Middle East and investing specifically. Lunar Entity said, remember in iPetGo 2 when the Egg Boy had markets plunge flash across his eyes? Yes. It shows the NASDAQ, then it shows the S&P twice, and neither one were falling. Quantum attack. Also said war update. It didn't show the Dow Jones in that scene. Pickle Rick said, if quantum can hack Bitcoin, then we have greater crap to worry about, like nuclear codes and bank hacks. Exactly. That's my favorite part, is whenever anybody brings that up as an argument against cryptocurrency, they don't realize that with blockchain and cryptography, if that has been breached, then all of your passwords for your bank accounts are already hit. Your bank accounts are empty by that point. They're not going to go for cryptocurrency first. They're going to go for the easier target. Lunar Entity said, oh yeah, we read that already. I do remember the market's plunge going across the guy's eyes. Okay. Next, ground stop issued at Reagan Duals and Baltimore airports following chemical smell at Potomac Fed building per Inside Wire. Fernando Nikolic posted. This is a good one, and we've talked about this, and it's actually topical with the current poll. Bitcoin miners are selling their Bitcoin to buy AI infrastructure. Marathon, Riot, Hut 8, Core Scientific, the companies that literally produce Bitcoin and are deciding that AI compute is a better use of their capital than holding the Bitcoin they mine. Don't think everyone's really sitting on how strange this is. These are the people closest to Bitcoin's monetary properties. They run machines and understand the halving math. They know the supply schedule better than anyone, and they're choosing to sell. The margins on AI hosting are so good right now that the opportunity cost of holding Bitcoin is actually negative for them. Think about that for a second. It's cheaper to sell Bitcoin and build data centers than to hold Bitcoin and mine more of it. Wild times right now. It is pretty crazy. And if you also think about it, if you're like Amazon or OpenAI or NVIDIA or Google or whoever, and you need this infrastructure, this high amount of electricity, this gigantic building with climate control for cooling and property for the building to go on top of, and you see these Bitcoin miners and you're like, they have everything we need, and suddenly the Bitcoin price is down 50%, and you're like, wait a second, there's opportunity here. Let's approach them and make them a really good offer that's cheaper or less time consuming than us purchasing this land over here. They're going to approach the Bitcoin miners and be like, listen, we know you're losing money on your Bitcoin. We know you only have this much amount to sell to keep your mining facility open. We will buy the whole thing from you. You can even take your Bitcoin miners with you. We want the building, we want the property. You take your crap, get out. We'll give you twice what it's worth. They are going to take that deal so fast, and it's actually in the best interest of both parties. So I have a feeling if this continues to go on, at least with Bitcoin, then there's going to be a serious overhaul in hash rate in the coming months. Lunar Entity said, quantum will breach everything. People are blind. They are. The world is built on SHA-256. Not a conspiracy, JJ. I've seen CCTV hearings where local governments are fuming at citizens opposing or voting down data centers. Yeah, 100%. It's just the electricity and stuff. It just doesn't make sense. I don't want your data center by me. Fuck off with that stuff. Put it somewhere else. All right, let's continue. Bitcoin Teddy posted, for every $1,700 move in Bitcoin, MicroStrategy prints $1 billion in unrealized gains. This is wild. Too bad it's going the opposite direction. This one was interesting. Jack posted, Trader Main explains why it's okay to be patient in the market. And these are quotes. Flood said something on a podcast recently. He said sometimes the best alpha is having money, because when FTX collapsed and you knew that there was fraud, you knew the bottom wasn't in. If you didn't have money to capitalize in that moment, who cares what you knew? If you don't know what you're doing and you don't feel confident, but you have money and you're waiting to deploy, in my opinion, be patient. Wait till there's a little more clarity. We are not going to bottom in one candle. Never in history of Bitcoin have we bottomed in one single candle. It's always a range. There's always time to buy near the bottom of the move. Whether it's the bottom of the bear market or the bottom before the next leg up, there's always time. There's always going to be clues in the chart, so you can be patient and wait. And I agree with this 100%. I think this is great insight. Don't force trades. Don't be in a hurry. And don't blindly follow the advice of random people on the internet, because I'm not a financial advisor. That'd be kind of cool if I became a licensed financial advisor, just because I could be the one crypto guy that says I am a financial advisor. Bitcoin teacher. If Bitcoin hits $1 million, the biggest regret people will have isn't not buying more, it's selling too early. Don't be a trader, hodl, or spend it. I like that. Crypto Fergani with some copium. Altcoins are dead. No, you idiot. Listen carefully. The higher Bitcoin dominance rises, the harder it will fall. And when it does, alts will explode. But here's a smarter play. The alts are already showing strength before Bitcoin dominance has even fallen. They're the ones you want to buy and hold. That's your golden ticket. Don't miss it. I actually agree with this. Bitcoin 66, 556 and 92 cents. Lunar Entity said, This is the HYG credit chart. All right, got it. Let's go check it out. And this one we want to go down. Is that correct? I don't remember. Yeah. Right? Is down better? Is this 2021? 2020 to 2021? Yeah, I think down is better, right? Although, why was it so crazy back here? That's crazy. I guess because of the pandemic, but wow. We haven't had a down equals money is cheaper. That's what I thought. We haven't had a big spike like that in a while. When was the last time? Like 2022? I don't know. So up money's more expensive. Is money really this cheap relative to the pandemic? That's kind of crazy. The Goldilocks zone is to watch for a peak. Okay. You think this double top's going to hold, or do you think we're going higher? Jay Wesovich said, JJ, can you look at GSD, please? It's Dex Screener Solana. Thank you very much. Yes, I can. Let's go take a look at that. I just DCA every week. Yeah. Honestly, diversifying DCA as well. Like, maybe dollar cost average into a stablecoin. Not financial advice. All right, I'll check the weekly RSI. All right, I'll check that out in a minute. Let's go take a look at GSD. Get shit done. Number go down, $910,000 market cap. So I like it when a chart has settled down. This has definitely settled down, and it's not gone to zero. You can see that there is a definitive low, and the current price and the bottom, which is where it launched from, is down here. So it's still significantly above the bottom, which is great. Holders look like. Number one is not a purchaser, but it might have been somebody that sent it to that wallet. I'd like to see who these people are. It is on Solana, so they should be able to tell me where the liquidity contract is. That's a little alarming. Liquidity contract is not displayed or labeled. 74K liquidity, 910. I'm not a big fan of such little liquidity, but the rest of it's okay so far. I would just keep an eye out on those holders, the listed top holders. And let me check the Twitter. Lunar Entity said, Big Pickle, what's good? Pickle Rick said, oh, what up, Lunar? Are they active on X? Yes, they are. Not as much as I'd like them to be, but they're posting at least once a day, it seems. Cool. Agentic operating system for reliable AI software developed, pioneered by official techs. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are going to start doing this, so projects like this have a chance to hit a little bit harder, strike while the iron's hot kind of thing, you know? So, not a bad idea. I don't hate it. Let's go take a look at that chart again. And Lunar Editor said I checked the weekly RSI. Okay. We are at 58, 59. We were here. Let's get some horizontal lines or vertical lines up in this. 58. We rejected right here. We rejected right here. We rejected right here. Okay. So there's a chance that we reject. We also got higher most recently in April 2025. Are we going to see a repeat of that? I don't know. $60 seems to be at least a recent resistance on the RSI. Going back to 23, 3 years. It's not bad. I don't hate it. Little downtrend resistance line. Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see where we're at by the end of April. One thing to keep in mind with credit, every time that chart dumps, the value of money is also being destroyed, which is why if you are cash heavy, you want to catch the fear at those peaks. Pickerick said, Is it crazy to say I'm bullish if we go up or fall? No. I think that most people get caught up in the macro, and they try to like they have to marry a certain mood for the market, and I feel like that's silly. Like, the market's dynamic, so your point of view should be dynamic. It is bullish long term. Even if we have a longer term downtrend, we get pulled out of it. You know, what's the longest downtrend we've had in the market? If you're not looking to retire within that amount of time frame, then you're probably good. Pickerick also said, chilling, holding back on 50% of my drip just in case we trip and fall. That's kind of where I'm at. I got dry powder that exceeds my bags right now, which is weird because I've never been in this scenario, but the bags fell and I came into some cash. So now I'm just waiting. And I hate waiting. I'm not a patient guy. But I guess it feels good to not be, out on my ass while all of this is happening. Bitcoin looks weirdly indecisive. Let's go see what Grok said. We asked it to give us an update on its Middle East situation. Pickerick said, that's not a problem. I'm not cash heavy at all. I'm broke AF. Oh. I mean, I'm broke by choice. I feel like being broke as a mindset is a good way to save money. You know what I mean? I feel like very privileged to be able to say that as well, but I work hard for what I have. Okay. Grok. Update as of March 29th, day 30 of the 2026 Iran war. Not a ton of shift on the ground or in the diplomacy since my last take yesterday, but the signals are still pointing at the same direction. Messy, contained tit for tat, with a clear off-ramp being negotiated behind the scenes. My base case forecast de-escalation and ceasefire by May through July. No full regional meltdown. Holds at roughly the same, around 70% probability. The war remains asymmetric. U.S.-Israel air dominance degrading Iranian capabilities. Iran proxy harassment via drones/missiles, mostly intercepted, and no one coming to the kind of ground war or Hormuz shutdown that would truly blow it up. Quick refresher. What's new since the other day? Battlefield, Iran launched several more small missile drone waves at Israel. I'm not going to read all that crap. Diplomacy. Trump extended the pause on striking Iranian energy infrastructure another 10 days, now to April 6-7, citing talks going very well via Pakistan intermediaries. He delivered the 15-point U.S. plan: nuclear rollback, proxy restraint, open Hormuz, sanctions relief. Iran publicly rejected it as maximalist and issued counter demands: reparations, full sanctions lift, sovereignty guarantees, and end to all fronts. But privately, there's movement. New Supreme Leader Khamenei has reportedly signaled openness to indirect negotiations after the pause, and Iran isn't slamming the door shut. No direct talks, but the back channel is active. Politics. Israeli opposition is starting to crack the unity, calling the multi-front effort, Iran, Lebanon, Gaza, West Bank, unsustainable with forces in collapse. Iran's regime is battered but consolidating under Muttaba, who stayed low profile. This is exactly the plateau I expected in the short-term window. No big breakthrough or blowups, just grinding plus signaling while both sides preserve leverage for a deal. Updated play-by-play, minor tweaks only. Next 1 to 3 weeks through mid-April. Watch April 6th deadline closely. Expect more Israeli surge strikes on Iranian missile nuclear sites and Hezbollah infrastructure. To strengthen their hand, Iran will keep up sporadic harassment, single missile waves, Gulf drone probes, without closing Hormuz fully. Too economically suicidal. Back channel via Pakistan likely yields incremental progress, maybe a temporary Hormuz reopening or proxy stand down. Probability of a brief humanitarian pause or framework agreement rises if Iran shows flexibility. May-July window, ceasefire most likely here. As I forecasted, Trump wants a quick win to tout. Israel wants proxies neutralized without quagmire. Iran, leaderless post-Khamenei senior. Economy wrecked. Needs sanctions breathing room to avoid regime-threatening internal fallout. Lebanon deal, Hezbollah south of Litany. Pullback disarmament monitored as sidecar, not pretty or permanent, but it ends the acute phase. Endgame, late 26, early 27, same as before, degraded axis of resistance, blah, blah, blah. Wild cards, unchanged. Iran overplays Hormuz or a big civilian hit. Israeli politics force deeper Lebanon push, or Trump declares victory early. Still low odds of full escalation. Market effects update. Oil remains the main mover. Brent has been whipsawed. 98 to 113 range recently, now 106 to 112 after a spike on Hormuz fears and rejection news. Then partial pullback on pause extension. It's up massively, 40 to 50% since February 28th on supply chain jitters, but not at crisis level yet because disruptions are partial and U.S. SPR shall cushion it. Short term, continued volatility if April 6 passes without Hormuz relief. Another leg up towards 120 possible. Inflation pinch, energy defense stock outperform. Broader equities dip more, but any positive signaling equals quick reversal. Post ceasefire, same unwind. Oil likely back towards 70 to 85 by summer as flows normalize. Equities rebound on lower energy costs. Bottom line, situation is evolving exactly as I laid out. No major surprises or reason to revise the timeline sharply. The Trump pause extension is actually a mildly bullish development for de-escalation hopes if you're invested for the long term and diversified. This remains a temporary shock rather than a portfolio ender. Watch the next 7 to 10 day for concrete signs from the back channel or April 6th outcome. That'll be the next real inflection. Things can still pivot fast in this environment, but exhaustion and self-interest on all sides continue to favor an exit ramp over forever war. What about the alleged U.S. troops injured recently? It seems like escalation is inevitable. All right, let's go back to Bitcoin. 66,543, gold 44.97. Let's see, check the chat. Jared Adventures said, thank you. Absolutely, my friend. Thank you. Pickerick said, chilling, holding back. Oh, yeah, we read that. 88 said, well, being broke is better than in debt, right? Exactly. Luna Entity said, the way the hackers leverage smart contracts proved the tech is future. At least in my mind, Iran was helpless against a simple worm because it was shielded by Web3. Pickerick said, well, not broke, keeping half of my dividends on the side, still DCAing, but would like another little drop. At this point, it's the pain that drives me. Do you feel like that right now? No, I'm not in pain. I'm impatient. What's driving me is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is price movement. I just want it to go up or down. I need it to go somewhere. I can't just sit here. It's like sitting in a waiting room as a child. You don't give a crap, like the in-between age where you don't care what's in the magazines and you don't care about the stupid little toys in the waiting room. You're just like, what am I doing? This is so boring. The carpet smells weird. The walls are all too bright. I don't care about being here. I don't care that my teeth are rotting out of my face, you know, whatever you're at the dentist for, or the doctor, you know, I have a little cough, I don't give a crap. You're a kid, you're impatient, you want to go home and play with your damn Legos. That's how I feel. 88 said, I don't feel like that. Lunar said, yes, but grifters love a range. JJ, easy time to sell BS. That's fair. That's fair. Gold and silver are killing me right now, man. Killing me. Bitcoin, 66,519. Let's continue the news segment. Crypto Fergani also said how trading works. You lose money for 3 years straight, then suddenly in 1 week, you make life-changing money and buy an M3 competition. I don't know what the heck an M3 competition is, but I agree with the rest of this. Bar chart posted Oracle credit default swaps hit widest level since the global financial crisis. Crazy. Only 43% of S&P 500 SPX stocks are trading above their 200-day moving average, the worst market breadth since May. Dow Jones Industrials enters technical correction after falling more than 10% from its February high. Coinfessions, I was a student and got a scholarship of 15K USD and went all in on cope and lost it all. I have no one to complain to because it's all my fault. Lost everything at the age of 19. Crazy. At peak of my portfolio, reached 100K USD, down to 15K now. The market's humbled me. Good learning experience. I'm going to make myself proud in the next cycle. That is actually a great learning experience. And this is the way to look at it, man. This is always the way to look at it. When people are like detrimental about it, that's not the way to go, man. You got an expensive education is all. This cracked me up. I want to share it because it was funny. This is a good video. Maybe I have weird taste, but it made me laugh.
Excuse me, sir. What's your dream?
To ask a black guy for an Android pass, but when I get it, I'll never say it.
Why would you even do that?
Because I love the power shift. Have a nice day.
Bro, I think if you have the pass, you have to say it.
No.
Come on. Please, bro. My nigga, please say it. Please, I'm begging you.
Me, never.
Say it. You have the pass.
The first no gets me, dude. He's like, no. That was a good video. It was just a funny video that I stumbled upon while I was scrolling earlier. I was like, this is good. We got an interesting one. JP Morgan has created a map of how much time we have left when the affected areas will be in trouble. Asia, April 1st. Europe, April 10th. North America, April 15th. Australia, 4/20. So April 1st is Wednesday. They have until this upcoming Wednesday. JY's Avenger said, as a black guy, I'm dying, LOL. It's a funny video, dude. That's a funny video. The little Asian dude. And he's like, no. The accent makes it so much better, too. Lunar Energy said, lost everything at 19. Boohoo, kiddo. Do it at 40. Right? That's what... I don't remember who it was. Is it Becker? Somebody... I think it's Becker. Somebody preaches that so frequently. They're like, if you're in your 20s... you need to like invest right now, because when you're in your 20s and you lose everything, it's fine. Or you make everything, it's great. You need to do this while you're in your 20s so that way you get it out of the way. And I love that. I didn't start investing until I was in my late 20s. And I wish I would have started way earlier. Not too early. Unfortunately, there's kids now doing it, which I think is over the top. You know, you don't want to waste your childhood. If I can go back and play Legos one more time, I would love that, dude. Play cars. I feel like I remember the time where I just lost my imagination. And I hate that. I hate it so much. JWaz Avenger said, I don't know what an MP3 competition is either, but I do agree with that. When it's bullish and you do the right thing 1 to 3 times in crypto, you change everything. Exactly. JWaz Avenger said, I wish I started at 20. I wish I started at 20. When I was 20 years old, it was 2013, and that was 1 year after I looked into Bitcoin, and I think it was like $200, $300. So if I would have started back then, I could have been a millionaire. I was trying to be a rapper, fell for the stereotype award. I feel like if you look at it like that, though, you're never gonna make it, which is fine, but you gotta get past that. I started a YouTube channel. How many people are doing that? Literally everybody. But I thoroughly enjoy it. I really do. 88 said, just 200 a month into S&P for the next 20 years and you will have some monies. Yes. That is the most beautiful way to do it. And again, it's not sexy, but you make money, man. You make so much money. Time in the market beats timing the market every time. We had Grok do the math for us. $100 a week, every week, for 25 years into the S&P 500, based on its average returns of 10% a year, you would be a millionaire after 25 years. That easy. That easy. Last but not least, we got Kobe SE letter. Iran's IRGC says they will target 2 Israeli or U.S. universities in the region in retaliation for the attack on Iran's University of Science and Technology in Tehran. Getting spicy out there, guys. Let's look at gold stocks are in historically oversold territory. 95% of stocks in gold miner ETFs are now trading in bear market, the highest since April 2023. This has surged 850% over the last 4 weeks as gold miners have dropped 25% over this period, entering bear markets for the first time since 2023. By comparison, Around 90% of stocks in the ETF were in a bear market. In October 2023, from that point until March 2026, GDX rallied 346%, experiencing one of its biggest bull markets in history. Gold miners have rarely been this oversold. Let's actually ask Grok about that. No, this doesn't make escalation inevitable. It's serious, but it fits squarely into the asymmetric contained pattern we've set for the last month. How this fits from the bigger picture, exactly what kind of tit-for-tat harassment. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Play by play, no major revision needed. Okay. All right, let's get a new clean slate here. Do you think gold and silver are going to bounce soon? If so, where do you see them heading? They seem oversold, in my opinion. Let's see if we can get a little bias sway the vote results. Excuse me. Let's see. Pac-Man 579 said China again. All right. Jay Westminster said, I should have started a YouTube channel or streaming at 20 instead, or investing, is what I'm saying. Oh, dude, starting, honestly, just starting anything back then would have been brilliant. I don't know what the hell I was doing. Working in a factory or something like an idiot. I had no ambition. Which is crazy now to have ambition in my 30s. I feel like a goofball. Because who's motivated in their 30s, you know what I mean? Anything outside of 20s makes me feel like a psychopath. Lunar Entity said, just remember to deduct the fund fee from your draw for S&P products. Joe Asver said, as they say, everything happens for a reason. 100%. Cheers to that. '88 said, and that's just the stable long-term investment. The fun ones, the rest of what you gain, effing around in the market. Yeah. The little scratch-off wins that like blow up for no reason. I guess I shouldn't use that terminology, given the current state of geopolitical conflicts. Let's see. We got 6 votes on the poll right now. We are tied. Can we get a tiebreaker in the poll? I asked you guys, what is the greatest risk to Bitcoin? So far, we're tied between quantum computing, China and others banning it, and stablecoins or stablecoins stealing the thunder. I kind of mind blown that nobody has said AI. I feel like AI is a huge threat to crypto. Maybe it's superficial. 88 said, oh yeah, I think we read that. Right. You always need that base investment. 100%. I will never fully exit the market. I think fully exiting the market's crazy. Crazy thing to do. We're getting some red here on altcoins. It's getting spicy. What's going on? Gold doing a whole lot of nothing. Lunar Entity said in 1929, America saw its highest retail engagement in markets in history, surpassing the railroad boom. We are nearing that level, actually. Really? That's interesting. I had no idea. Why do I feel like Bitcoin's like weirdly stalemated right now? It feels really weird. 88 Metals said, your kid will love you for having it. Okay, let's see what Grok said. Yes, gold and silver do look oversold on a technical basis after sharp March 2026 correction. Short-term bounce is plausible in the coming days, weeks, though the broader near-term trend remains cautious until key resistance levels are reclaimed. Longer-term, the structural bull case for both metals remains intact, with most analysts still forecasting higher prices by year-end 2026. Really? Current snapshot, gold's trading around 42.40 or 44.20. Wow. Silver 67.80. This pullback follows parabolic 2025, early 2026 gains driven by safe haven demand, central bank buying, and for silver industrial shortages. Recent pressures appears tied to stronger USD, repriced Fed rate expectations, Markets now pricing in fewer/no cuts in 2026 and some profit taking after the massive run up. Technical picture, oversold conditions align with your view. Gold daily RSI dipped into the low 20s, 30s range, deeply oversold territory, lowest since late 2024 in some readings. It's testing or bouncing off key supports like the 50-week moving average and areas around 4350 to 4500. Analysts note it's attempting to ease oversold conditions with positive momentum signals emerging, though it remains below the 50-day EMA bearish short-term bias. Silver, RSI around 32 to 49, approaching or in oversold, with stochastics also low. There are hints of hidden bullish divergence and oversold bounce setups, but the trend is still bearish until it clears recent breakdowns. Below 70 to 76. What's silver at right now? 69? Okay. Oversold readings like these often precede short-term relief rallies. Mean reversion bounces, especially after violent sell-offs. However, without a catalyst, weaker USD, softer yields, or renewed geopolitics, any bounce could be limited or fade. Short-term outlook, bounce likely, but watch these levels. I'd expect near-term bounce, possibly starting this week as markets reopen, as oversold conditions invite short covering and bargain hunting. Potential targets, gold initial recovery towards 45 to 46, then 47 to 5K if momentum builds. A failure to hold 43.50 to 43.80 could see higher low or another leg down. I don't know where I even made that word up. Silver pushed towards 70 to 74, psychological and recent resistance with 76 to 80 as stronger hurdle. It's more volatile, so moves could be sharper. This isn't guaranteed. Momentum indicators still show downside pressure, and short-term trend is bearish until EMAs are reclaimed. Longer term, rest of 2026 still bullish fundamentals. Gold consensus forecast 5K plus by year's end. JP Morgan 5 to 63, others 54 to 6. Drivers include ongoing central bank diversification, investor demand, and gold's hedge roll amid uncertainty. Silver, more mixed, but still constructive. JP Morgan averages 81 an ounce for 2026, double 2025 levels, with bullish outliers citing supply deficits and industrial demand, solar EVs pushing toward $100 plus for far higher in extreme ratio scenarios. The gold-silver ratio compressing earlier, and structural shortages support silver catching up on any sustained recovery. Bottom line, your oversold read is spot on. Technically, with the bounce, seems probable soon as exhausted sellers step back. All right. 88 said, listen, in 30 years, putting it in S&P where you will have easy 7 digits in it, it won't matter because it's 30 years from now and you will already be rich by then. Toss it in the family trust and they're good. Yeah, that's the way to look at it, man. That's always the way to look at it. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, we're going to fireside chat. People get into this mindset that if they invest right now, they can retire tomorrow. And that gets you into this weird like wormhole where you're like, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. So I'm just going to rely on this investment. And then when it doesn't play out and you still have to go to work tomorrow, you're suddenly in a bad mood. You're like, this sucks. This investment's a scam because I still have to go to work tomorrow. It's BS. And it's like this weird psychological trap where everyone's like, oh, well, I can just get an easy, quick, I can get rich tomorrow. And then I can tell my boss to go F himself. And that's not what investing is supposed to be. It's become this weird, like, halfway gambling addiction that people see as some sophisticated excuse to take the day off work or something. I don't know. I feel like we need to move away from that mindset. I feel like that's a problem. All right, we've got still tied. Can we get one more vote in the poll in the chat? What is the greatest risk to Bitcoin, or is it maybe appropriate that we are sitting with a tie? And is there any further updates? Should I check Watch Your Guru? I guess I could check Cointelegraph as well. Yeah, they don't post on the weekends. Cointelegraph, doo-doo-doo. Oof, terrifying. SBF was sentenced exactly 2 years ago. Thief. Bitmine, If Bitmine had waited until today to deploy its capital, it would have almost doubled the ETH. That's crazy. AI agents are already scanning hundreds of prediction markets per second, outpacing any human trader. So who's profiting off this? Surely there's got to be somebody with some kind of hand in this besides the infrastructure. I don't know. I don't know. Lunar Entity said, look up bucket shops or have Grok explain them. We're in a similar environment. 88 said, you're right. Then in 20 years, they're saying if I would have just put it in the S&P, I'd have this much. Always hindsight, as we know. Always, dude. And that's where I'm terrified, especially having like investing now. I'm terrified that in 10, 15, 20 years, I'm going to look back and I'm going to see evidence, or I'm going to remember, oh no, I owned this thing once upon a time and it's 1,000x since then. If I would have just kept $10 worth, I'd have so much money right now. So I will never, ever, ever, ever fully exit a position. I will always have a moon bag. So if I have to keep $10 in fart coin and it goes to zero, so be it. You know what I mean? I'm terrified that I'm going to fumble a bag somewhere along the way and miss out on generational wealth because I wanted to clean up my wallet or something stupid. What do you need $10 for, bro? You know? And I understand that I'm privileged for being able to say that. A lot of people don't have money, but I don't know. I'm trying to improve my life with investing. What were we doing? Oh, yes, bucket shops. All right, let's switch to fast for this. Can you explain what a bucket shop is to me? 88 Mental said people grind for lifetimes to make big money, never get there when numbers just show index is king. I'm telling you, man, it's because it's not sexy. They watch like The Big Short, they watch Limitless, they watch all these movies, these Hollywood movies, and they're like, oh my gosh, you got to be a dialed-in, multi-screen day trader. You got to lock in, monitor the situation. You got to research and buy this and sell that, and you got to time it, and it's got to be perfect. And you got to do amphetamines, and you got to get the prescription for Adderall, and just sit there and be locked in all day. And then they ruin their life because that's all they focus on all the time, and they're so addicted to that feeling that they can never catch. It becomes a drug. It's out of control. And then when you do finally make it, you have no family, no friends, no life. And you're like, what do I do with all this money? What do you do? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I adore my family. Everything that I do is for my family. That's number one. Always. All right. Bucket shop is a fraudulent brokerage or gambling operation that pretends to take customer orders for buying and selling stocks, commodities, and other financial instruments, but doesn't actually execute those trades on a real exchange. Wait a minute, this is what I keep saying exchanges could do. A customer places an order, buy 100 shares of XYZ stock at 50. The bucket shop accepts the order, takes the customer's money, margin, or deposit. Instead of sending the order to a legitimate exchange, the shop simply records the bet internally. They bucket the order, like throwing it into a bucket, processing it. The shop profits if the customer loses, which is common because they often manipulate prices or use high-pressure tactics, and they may pay out small wins to keep the illusion going. If many customers win at once, the shop might close suddenly or refuse to pay. No real execute. Okay, I didn't know that there was a term for this. I always talked about this. Like, imagine you're Binance. You have the ability to manipulate the price of Bitcoin. This is all alleged parody. Please don't sue me. Let's go to the bar. So you're Binance. You have the largest Bitcoin reserves on the planet. So you can manipulate the price. With the largest, I already have existing customers, let's say 90% of my customers. The other 10% that comes in, they give me $10 billion. I want to keep that $10 billion. I don't want to give it back to the customer. So I take their $10 billion. I'm like, yes, you all own $10 billion for the Bitcoin. Everyone's like, cool. And anyone that tries to withdraw, we're like, oh, we're having withdrawal issues. That's day one. Day one, suddenly I manipulate the price of Bitcoin and go down 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever. And then I buy I actually purchase and put your Bitcoin. Your wallet always showed you that you had that much Bitcoin, but the dollar amount changed. I never bought that. I never spent that $1 billion. I just told you, yes, you have $1 billion with Bitcoin. Now that $1 billion is only worth $500 million. I still have your full billion. So now I go out and I buy your $500 million worth of Bitcoin. I put it where it actually belongs, and I have $500 million for nothing. I did nothing. I just manipulated the price of Bitcoin down a little bit. How hard is that? You will never, ever convince me that that's not happening today. And maybe that was, maybe I was going to tinfoil for that, but I feel like it's not necessary because I feel like it's probably pretty damn true. 88 said, that's dolt mentality A, have to be togi, LOL. Isn't it what Citadel does? Dark books? That would not surprise me. Citadels who got in trouble for the whole Robinhood GameStop thing, which I think is hilarious. I love the fact that some fat rich bastard lost a shit ton of money because retail fucked him in the ass. That makes me happy. Excuse my French. Bitcoin 66,574. We are chilling. Bucket shop, historical context, thrived in the U.S. around 1880s to 1920s, often in cities like New York and Chicago. Famous figures like Jesse Livermore got their start or lost fortunes in bucket shops before moving to legitimate trading. They were a major problem during the lead up to the 1929 crash, contributing to public outrage and stricter market regulations. Modern equivalent. Today, the term bucket shops is mostly historical, but similar scams exist as unregulated offshore brokers that don't route orders properly. Binary options platforms that function like gambling sites, pump and dump schemes, or fake trading apps. Legitimate brokers must be registered with the SEC or CFTC in the United States and actually execute trades through exchanges or dark pools. In short, a bucket shop is fake trading. You're not participating in real market. You're just playing a rigged game against the operator. If you'd like examples from history, that's crazy. Lunar Entity said it's why the CFTC fought so hard for CME listing for Bitcoin. 88 said, oh my, JJ. All right. Man, it's quiet. Cointelegraph is quiet as well. Most retail traders still rely on tools like ChatGPT instead of running their own trading agents. What? This is the most contrived modern thing I've ever read. Is a lot of people relying on either of these? That's alarming. That's kind of weird. Stablecoin processed over 33 trillion in volume in 2025 alone. Goldman Sachs says Bitcoin may have already hit its cycle bottom. Yeah, good timing, Goldman Sachs. October 10th liquidations versus every other crypto liquidation in recorded history. Wow. Yeah. Number go up. I don't know if Bitcoin's bottomed, man. I don't know. Seems like it hasn't. Calm before the storm. Yeah, it's just weirdly quiet. Especially for a weekend, man. The weekends have been so volatile, so it's just weird to see the market so quiet and almost like deflated. I'm not sure what to think. No tiebreaker. We did get a 7th vote. Somebody voted for AI. We're going to end it. The current poll. I asked you guys, what is the greatest risk to Bitcoin? 29% said quantum computing. 29% said China and others banning it. 29% said stablecoin / stealing thunder. Or stablecoin stealing thunder. And 13% said AI, artificial intelligence. 88 Metals said they just want retail to jump for exit liquidity as we know. Yeah. Yep. And again, that's where that short-term mindset comes into play. I feel like all of the short-term people become the exit liquidity for the long-term people. Every time. Like, I buy today, I sell next week. That money that I lost from buying and selling is the money that, some guy that bought 10 years ago just pocketed because I was an impatient little baby. when in reality I was never expecting to make a return on my investment in a week anyways, so I need to calm down. Sometimes you have labored breathing for extended periods of time and you become anxious. Lunar Edit said, just saying, I think our credit fractal Bitcoin bear rally from 2018 to 2019 is going to play out. 60K could very well be the Pico bottom on a failure to hold 100K. Let's see. You said, Jay Weisberger said, I agree with Lunar. I think our credit fractal Bitcoin bear rally from 2018 to 2019 is going to play out. Where was that again? Look at how Bitcoin interacted with credit in 2018-19. What chart do I add to the Bitcoin chart? Give it to me in black and white. Gosh, this would suck. We'd have to wait a whole year for this to finally get not boring. Hopefully that's not the one. Look at how Bitcoin interacted with credit in 2018-2019. All right, got it. Copy. Is this the cleanest chart that I can find? Why do I have so many? Well, that didn't play out. That didn't play out either. Jeez. All right, I'm gonna clear these. We're clearing the board. Clearing the board. The board is being cleared for a clean chart that we have not referenced this chart in forever. 2018, 2019. Let's go to the weekly. And plus. And bam. New pane. Got it. Up. And close. All right. 1819. 1819. Okay. So we got a Bitcoin run up from this run down. All right, let's do the exact spot. From peak to the Bitcoin peak. It's about right there. Okay. So that lower high. And then we hit a really violent low on Bitcoin right there at that peak. We hit a low right here at this peak. We hit a low right here at this peak. We got a very, very quiet, calm grind up while we're hitting this low. But we are hitting a low on the price. Okay. So I guess that would be a retest of the 60K range after coming up to 100K-ish in my opinion. So you think we're going to go 100K failure and then 60K again, double bottom? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Have we done that before? I guess we've got a double top right here. It'd be on a larger scale. Double top. W kind of setup. We never saw that 2018 bottom again, even after the credit crunch. Yeah. Right now, see, we're kind of testing previous all-time highs, which I don't hate. And if we do go lower, People calling for 30K, I think, are goofballs. But maybe I'll be an idiot. Maybe I'll be an idiot. It just seems so silly to think that we would go lower than 50K. But maybe it does happen. Maybe it happens. Maybe we go to 30. I don't know. 2020 could force price down to 2018 lows. Couldn't force price down to 2018 lows. 88 said... Oh, hang on. 88 said, layman terms, please. Right, that's how I feel. Jay Weatherverse said, can't blame them. 88. First cyclers usually round trip because greed and experiencing wins like that for the first time. 88 said, I guess some of these things ripped so hard, I thought it was obvious they would have to cool off a lot. Silver, gold, tokens, etc. Lunar Energy said, Bitcoin usually front runs credit stress. 2018, it front ran it hard. Okay. '18. I mean, it's interesting to see this. Okay, so you're saying we're going to get this. We're going to get that 100K and then that prolonged. That sucks. That sucks so bad. I think that that is one of the fractals that we just looked at. Let's get all of this. Yeah, put that back. And where were we? Other charts with Bitcoin. And let's do this. Not 120 though. Let me scale it down. Hang on. This is this is really big fractal. Oh geez, I just moved something I shouldn't have moved. On the daily, let's go to the weekly. Yeah, let's pull this bad boy down. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Yeah, maybe that's how it plays out. That'd be kind of cool. We need those unwinds as fuel. Let's see if that happens, man. That'd be cool. Looking at, again, March, April, May 2027 is when we get to have fun again. Look at the reactions in 2020's explosion. Yeah. Yeah. But the time, man, I'm not a patient guy. I don't know. I don't have the mentality to sit behind it that whole time. Oh, man. I'm tired, boss. Imagine that. People would lose their minds. We went up, and then for majority of the rest of the year, and then we dump right back down. Oh my gosh, people would freak out. That'd be crazy. That would be crazy. Macro real-life events are greater than fractals and lines, etc. Fractals are fun, though. You gotta admit, fractals are fun. There's a reason they call me the Fractal Farquad. I'm tired of winning, boss. I'm so tired of winning, dude. So freaking tired of winning. What is this chart? Okay, this is everyone's pullback. My bottom guess for absolute moonage rampage. Yeah, that's at 51.5 level. We got everyone else's. So far, my bear market bottom guess, October 70K, is wrong. Because we went lower. So I think, yeah, Dream Tanks is next. And then Mr. Robbers, both around mid-50s. You slept through 2022 and 2025. If you bought the credit unwind of 2020, you'd be up money. Even with the 3 different crashes in Bitcoin. You slept through 22 and 25. Yeah. Time machine, man. How many first place ribbons does one need, eh? Just one, man. Just give me one. Look at the bottoming structure. We get that dip. We get one more test, and then that double bottom, and then it rips. Are we going through our one more test right now? Heading for our double bottom next. Maybe right at 60K. That'd be kind of interesting. Should we copy paste that fractal? Do we have too many fractals still? Let me go. Let me go back to our chart. The bottoms look so similar. Look, you get dip, attempt, double bottom, rip. Dip, attempt. We're going for that double bottom and rip. Dip, attempt, double bottom, rip. Is that what's going to play out? Well, we got dip, attempt, single bottom, and then rip to the downside. Interesting. Okay, so recency bias argues you need a double bottom. Some buys coming in. JJ, can we do a Dolo update, please? Yes, we can. Oh, excuse me. Dolo. %, very nice. You are sitting below 1,007 or 10. Sitting below your 10 level. Bottoming. It does look like a bottoming pattern. This is on the daily. I think we've talked about this. Yeah. Current candle up 14.9%. Very nice. Yeah, I think if you're serious about this, I would buy down here. But exercise caution as always. That 10 level, once you get above that psychological level, it's going to get pretty spicy. And you do have a technical resistance right here because of the previous support. So there are buys coming in though. That liquidity, this thing is so small cap, it's crazy. If you catch a bid on this, it's going to make you a shit ton of money. But it's a really, really risky gamble. Just look at those spikes, though, man. Imagine getting an 80% candle, 65% candle. Those are big boy candles. Look at this one. 200%, 84, 41. Spicy candles, man. Just got to catch one good day. All right. Bitcoin up 0.35. Where were we? We were doing a fractal. That's what we were doing. We were going to do... I'm going to do this one. Just to kind of see... I don't think that this would push us that much higher. That'd be kind of cool. People would get spooked too if we spiked below 60K. Oh my gosh. There would be so many shorts open right there. I do like a good fractal. No problem, JY. 88 said 10 years. 10 years for what? Lunar Entity said credit is scary, but you absolutely want to be in front of those peaks. Credit is scary. Let's see if this plays out, man. You know how many people, every single time, I bet you, every time this stuff played out, because it's played out every time. Right here, you get low, you get lower low, people loaded up on shorts. You get one more, they're like, oh look, it can't even get high again. It's literally like weakening, it's dropping, it's gonna fall off a cliff. And then it went, bam! Just destroyed every single bear. And then it did it again. And they go, surely it can't go up. Short. Wrecked. Add to your short. Wrecked. Okay? Lower low. It's getting weaker. It's a downtrend. Bam. Liquidated. Destroyed. Every single time. It's embarrassing. That was the bear market. I remember hitting this. I remember hitting this and everyone going like, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's never going higher ever again. It can't get above the previous all-time high. It cannot stay above that. And then out of nowhere, it just went boop. Just destroyed everyone. And then it pulled back again. They're like, oh my gosh, this is 2021 all over again. Double top. Oh my gosh. Boop. Again. Same thing. Every single time. Now, the only difference here, obviously, I'm not making any argument for continued bull market. But we do very clearly have a lower low here. But you had a lower low here too. 1, 2, 3. Are we about to experience that on a little grander scale? 1, 2, imagine a third one, and then $500,000 Bitcoin? I have no clue, man. That'd be crazy. That'd be sick. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but it'd be cool. Shortened cycles 6 or so months. That'd be kind of cool. I think we're past that point, aren't we? October, November, December, January, February, March, April. April would be month 6. I don't know. Lunar Entity said, look at what credit was doing in 23, 24. All right, let me pull that up. 88 said NASDAQ 100 480% to 500%, 10 years time frame, about 20% annualized. Ooh, that's nasty. Wow. 20% a year is crazy. That's double. What would that take then? So let's ask Grok. Get out of here, Cointelegraph. Expert. If I invested, let's do like $80 a week into a fund that made approximately 20% a year. How long? Compounding, starting from 0, would it take for me to be a millionaire? Okay. 23 to 24. 23 to 24. Yeah. How low can this go? I feel like it's very, like, if this was a asset, I would be buying it because it feels incredibly compressed over a long period of time, which scares me because I don't want this to go high. It's because we know high is bad, you know. But it does look overbought. I mean, the RSI does not look good. And we do have this fractal. Looking for that pullback. Do we have to adjust the fractal a little bit? I don't mind that still. Lunar Entity said okay, but don't forget the 13 years that investors were underwater from 2000. Yes, that's why the average annual return. So if you're not trying to retire in 13 years, then you'll be fine. You just gotta wait a little bit longer. We are one leg above 1997, which was one of the easiest environments in history. Okay, I like that. Lunar 88 said into the NAS 100. So silver was weak for decades too. Once again, we are talking base investment with S&P and NAS, not trades or fun times. Yes. So according to Grok, we do the math. It would take 20.9 years. You get $80 a week. Consistently, every single week, $80. You do not miss a single week. $80 a week into a fund that is annually making approximately 20%. You'll be a millionaire in 21 years. With just $89,000 to $90,000, depending on exact weeks. That's so sick, dude. That is so sick. Growth, the remaining $910,000 comes from 20% compounding. Very nice, very nice. Lunar said the only other easiest time in history was the railroad boom. I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Wow, look at that. Whew, that is quite the pullback, isn't it? We had something like that in 24. Okay. Yeah, see, you got to get, even if it's dead cat bounce, you got to get a bounce eventually. Same thing right here. Big boy pullback. That was probably historic. My favorite so far, my favorite event, my favorite thing that has reoccurred is every other day they're like, this is a once in a lifetime. We've never seen anything like this before, and we may never see anything like it again. And that has happened every single week, it seems. I'm like, man, how many once in a lifetime things are we going to witness? It's just become the norm now. It's very normal. Once in a lifetime, several lifetimes. 88 said, not bad for a side hustle, eh? Oh, 100. Dude, you invest that into a business, and you're just throwing that down the drain. You're not going to make $1 million ROI. That's pretty good bet. And that's the thing, man. It's just not sexy. That's why people, I think the biggest thing you got to do is you have to have a sustainable, good foundation, good income. You got to have good income. And again, that's where the stupid 3 boring things come to play. I got to read it. That's why I have it written down. Avoid debt, Yes, I got it. Avoid debt, live on less than what you earn, and invest the surplus. It's so easy, but nobody thinks about it. Nobody puts time and effort into it. They're like, this is not. I'm not going to see a quick enough return on this effort, so I'm not going to do it. Sometimes life has to be boring for a decade in order for it to be fun for the remaining 8 or 9 decades afterwards. You know what I mean? If you invest 10% of your life for the other 80 or 90%, that sounds amazing. Idiot said, it's done me well over the decades with some sexy stuff in between. Right. That's the diversity, too. That's the beauty of the diversity. You don't have to be solely boring desk job. Like your DCA into the NASDAQ or S&P 500, that is your desk job. You keep your desk job. On the weekends, you go out and you party with your buddies. You go on vacation. You take the family to a theme park. You sit and have a movie night. And that, metaphorically, is your Bitcoins, your scratch-offs, your used car flipping, your side gigs, your penny stocks, whatever. All the random other stuff. Your precious metals. You're trying to buy at the right time and sell at the right time. All that stuff. You got to have a good foundation. The good foundation, the base of everything starts at your income. Have a solid income and just invest in a steady, not sexy fund. Your snack. Yes. Yes. They're not toys. You be careful. You be careful with what you're saying right now. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Happy Saturday. Oh, man. All right. You can still keep money out to play with, eh? That's the goal, man. And the playing is what makes it fun, too. I'm not losing my personality. I'm not going to be some, like, tight-wound, suit-wearing businessman. When I'm finally done, I'm like, yes, I have made my million. Now I'm going to go and enjoy it. And I'm, like, in my suit, like, on a beach chair with a martini. Like, I love this. This is so much fun. I've invested, and now I'm a millionaire, and I'm not boring at all. That sucks. I want to be sitting on the beach chair in my snack bathing suit with like a bunch of garbage around me, just having a fun time. Where Tom to call you gay when I need him. Yeah, Tom Selleck's goat's been MIA, man. It's kind of sad. We need Tom Selleck's goat back. What's going on? You know you will have 1,020,000. That helps, man. Makes you calm. Oh, 100%. Once you're looking at the longer term, everything gets easier. And that's where I think the turbulence and the trenches kind of comes into play. When you're in the trenches, thinking that you got to make it big tomorrow, you know, that sucks. But once you settle down, you realize, if I'm just chill about it, then it'll come to me eventually. You're good to go. And it's almost a guarantee. And if it's not a guarantee, you probably get some bigger problems going on, you know? Probably been in a beach chair 15 years. Indexes for the kids. Hell yeah. I'm not a big beach guy. I was trying to have a broader analogy. I'm going to be in the woods, in a cabin in the woods, whittling, making a fire. I don't know. I don't know what else I'm going to be doing. Have you been investing for 10 years? I have not. I started 2019, 2020. Been in it for half a decade. Which sucks because I just recently learned all of the smart things that you have to learn. So, that's the education that I paid for. But I'm a lot more comfortable now than I was back then. Going from paycheck to paycheck to like savings is crazy. Passive investing is going to destroy the market, just a matter of time. 88 said, yes, you will be wherever you can drive to. Lunar Entity said, passive investing is going to destroy the market, just a matter of time. What does that mean? Like my not sexy DCA? How dare you? I think the population situation is the biggest threat to the markets. Because people aren't willing to have kids in a market that they can't afford. And that's smart. You shouldn't be bringing kids into the world if you can't afford them, but that's becoming the norm. and the population growth is slowing. And eventually, if it starts to decrease, then the Ponzi kind of collapses. Oh, 88 said, we know planes are off limits. I don't think I'm leaving Michigan, to be completely honest. If I become a millionaire, I might have somebody drive me across the country for like vacations and stuff, but I'm going to live in Michigan. Lunar said the more people join the passive side of the market, the more inelastic the market becomes. That's fair. Jay West Adventure said, I said it once, I say it again. Say it again. Do it. Let's see what's going on. Do I scroll X? Do I dare? I do not. U.S. military prepares for potential 2-month-long ground operation in Iran. Yay! 150 million views. A lot of revenue money. Oh yeah, apparently Erica Kirk is suing Drewski, which is really funny. He like perfectly nailed everything that she does. Cracks me up. Harris, nobody's telling you how F the food situation actually is right now. I'm not going to read that. Stupid fear-mongering junk. Jay Wesley said the boomers had the golden age once income could get you a house and provide for your wife and kids. Yeah, JJ buying a new town and country. Oh, hell yeah. I think it's a Pacifica now. They stopped manufacturing a town and country. Let's go see what gold is doing. Absolutely nothing, but Bitcoin is up 0.45% on the day. Currently trading at 66,672. Looking pretty good. Lunar Entity said, we reached 50% last year. Historically, whenever passive overtakes active, the volatility regimes become more catastrophic. Joe Azavija said, the new golden age is here, though with AI and robotics. Let's actually ask Grok again. I forgot what Grok said. Let's clear this first. Do you think we see universal basic income in the United States within the next decade? If so, how much and how often? I think it said yes before, and 1,000 a week, but we'll see what it says again. Was it 1,000 a week or 1,000 a month? It might have been 1,000 a month. Bitcoin's chilling. Anything else? Market's pretty quiet. Are we going to get a little bounce here to scare the bears? I don't know how I feel about this fractal, because it feels like it's exactly what's going to play out. And that alone makes me standoffish about the whole thing, because that's what played out up here. That's where I pulled it from. It's been scrunched down a little bit. But I feel like that's the exact structure, that stair step down. I don't know if it's going to go all the way down to 42K. I still got my eyes on that 51.5, that 58% overall pullback. Max Payne, I do think, is positive price action, though. It just depends on the geopolitical climate. 88 said NASDAQ 100, 1,500%, 1,600% last 20, S&P 500, 620 to 630. I actually had no idea that the NASDAQ outperformed S&P. Joe Azavenge said a new golden age is here. Yeah, we read that. Within the next decade is a definite yes. Okay, Grok said, oh. No, I don't think the United States will implement a true national unconditional cash payments to every adult citizen by 2036. Really? Too high right now, even with AI-driven job displacement. Okay. Immodest at poverty levels, 16K per adult per year. Net cost, $784 billion annually. 2.7% of GDP as of recent estimates. A Yang-style 1K a month for all adults would be trillions gross before offsets. U.S. is already running large evidence from plots, blah, blah, blah. Pilots, what will likely happen instead and why it's more realistic. AI job shift, white-collar sectors are real and speeding up, which means UBI in the conversation, which keeps it in the conversation by 2036. State and local growth. Over half of the states have proposed or debated guaranteed income policies. Places like Chicago, Cook County are making $500 a month pilots permanent for low-income residents. Maryland and others are actively considering unconditional checks, expect more of these to stick around, targeted at the poor, parents, youth, or specific cities, creating a patchwork basic income light. Federal pilots, the 2025 Guaranteed Income Pilot, and similar bills could pass or expand into larger tests. Studying AI displacement effects, these might become semi-permanent for narrow groups, but won't go universal. Okay. Possible national dividend variant. If AI productivity explodes, something like an Alaska-style annual resource dividend funded by AI data, taxes, or sovereign wealth fund, or a small monthly stipend could emerge, but it'd likely have phase-outs or work requirement to make it politically viable. Think 300 to 600 for adults in best case scenario, not 1,000 plus. If a broader national program somehow materializes by 2036, I'd put odds at 20%. It would probably be how much? 500 to 800 per adult or equivalent, possibly scaled by age or region, with higher amounts for kids or during transition periods. Full 1K a month versions are popular in rhetoric, but fiscally tough without major tax reform. How often? Monthly direct deposits. Yep. UBI is compelling idea for simplifying welfare and cushioning tech disruption. Okay, I like the idea of giving it to people under a certain income. I feel like that makes the most sense, personally. And it's easy to verify with taxes. If you want to participate in this, you have to pay your taxes every year. Or file taxes every year. 88 said 20-year time frame could go back more. It's far superior play than most for the NASDAQ. Yeah. What's boomer age, JY? That's a good question. Lunar Entity said goats love UBI. I do like UBI. I want UBI, man. I want a free check. Send me free money, man. The economy's already effed if you're going to tell me, oh, it's really bad for the economy. What do I care? What does anybody else care? The economy's screwed, bro. So if I get a little bit of money out of it, great. That's more benefit. Because right now I'm getting nothing. JY said 62 to 80. 88 mental. Look at the government. 88 said, JJ, you host a good show. Thank you very much. Thank you for saying that. Cheers, my friend. The concurrent viewership has been higher today. I'm in a good mood. I'm probably going to call it soon, though. I got to eat. Got to get some food in me. JY's Adventure said Nancy Pelosi and them hundreds of millions. Dude, it cracks me up how old people are in the government. Like, it's weird when you see somebody that's not, like, in their 70s or 80s. Like, literally anybody not in their 70s or 80s, they're like, oh, this senator. And you're like, whoa, that's a senator? They have skin on their face. What? 88 said, just checking if I fit that boomer year time frame or not. I do enjoy the idea of boomer not applying to a specific generation, but just an age group. I think that term is going to be universal throughout history from this point forward. Anyone that is an old person is going to be a boomer. It's not going to be strictly baby boomers. It's just too fun to say. I don't know who coined OK Boomer, but I remember it gaining popularity in like the YouTube zeitgeist, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a good packs a punch, packs a boom. Lunar Entity said most models done around UBI don't measure the economic impact, rather they measure the destruction of social norms and personal agency. It makes sense to give people under a certain income threshold a small like dusting so that they can still contribute to the economy. I don't know. Maybe it's stupid. It just seems like if they could reduce the waste, like the $2.5 billion on renovations for the Fed buildings, instead of just demoing those buildings and building whole new buildings for less money, then they can give that money to people that need it. But maybe I'm a little too hopeful. Money's all made up. So just make up a little bit more and give it to people. Oh, that would break everything. Okay, well, maybe it's already broken then. Maybe it's a little broken. Bitcoin 66,586. Are we going to see a drop here? Maybe? Probably. I feel like every time I say that, though, the next day it's up a lot. So my brain, the contrarian in my brain is like, this is going to go up a lot between today and tomorrow because I feel bearish. And I'm a bad bear. I'm not a good bear. I'm very bad at being bearish. So we'll see what actually plays out. But for now, 66,592. 88 said, $1 billion a day war could have a better ROI for the people. I'm sure But what do I know? Right? Right? Yeah. It blows my mind, dude. The amount of money that we waste on stupid crap. And they act like they need tax money, but then if they don't have the money that they need, they just print it. I don't know why they just can't keep printing. I don't know why that these people are running our country. It hurts my brain to think about, man. I hate them so much. I think they suck ass. Joe Avenger said, it's Gen X, then Millennials, then Gen Z, then Gen Alpha. 46 to 61 Gen X. I'm a Millennial. Wish I was still Gen Z, to be honest. 88 said, I'm in the Gen X, higher Gen X year time frame, LOL. See, this whole argument, I feel like, goes back to the zodiac signs. They just recently switched the dates for zodiac signs. Like, if you're born past a certain year, now suddenly, instead of being a Taurus, you would be like Aries or something. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why things have to change. The boomer mindset is already infiltrating my brain. Change, no good. Me no like change. Change bad. Call the police. So that's kind of how I feel about the Millennial, Gen X, Gen Z. Jay Weisberg said, wish I was still Gen Z, to be honest. What do you mean still Gen Z? If you were Gen Z, then you'd still be Gen Z. That doesn't change with your age. I think it's when you were, like, what years you were born. And that, again, that changes too, depending on what source you check. It's irritating. Robot Money showing strength, JJ. Let's go look at Robot Money really quick. It's pliable like gays in church. That argument, I could get into religious, man. We can go religious. You guys want to go religious? I can't spell, man. I can get into religious. I cannot get into spelling. Ooh, it is showing strength. Would you look at that? 1575, $1.5 million market cap. Very nice. Top 80 holders. 61. What do we got here? Who is that? Cluster supply 3.88. Okay. Somebody's making money. 3.18% of the supply is a little bit spooky. Cluster supply. Okay, this guy's making money. Oh my god, he only spent $1,000? Okay, that's not bad. He's got 9 grand. That's a killer trade, though. Wow. 11K, 40... What? Okay, so this is sent here. Huh. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the distribution, but if it's going up, it's going up, man. Sometimes you can make money and sell before the big guy gets out. Just be careful. Watch that distribution. Always important to keep an eye on that. It's trending right now. It's number 6. That's why. Maybe that's not why. Maybe it's just trending. But it's number 6 right now. Bitcoin's chilling. 88 said, well, here's a sure way to tell that you're older when you have more yesterdays than tomorrows. That's terrifying. The question is, though, is technology going to give you more tomorrows? In the tomorrows. Metaphor. Joe Azavich said, thank you, JJ. What's going to be the movie of the night? I've been watching, I think I told you guys earlier, I've been watching Peaky Blinders. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. What is going to be the movie, though? The movie is going to be... It's going to be Chips. The Chips movie. Only because I was on Blockchain Brute earlier. And Creative Intuition was on there. And he mentioned Chips. And I love that movie. I think it's a great movie. Really funny. Dak Shepard and Michael Pena. Highly recommend. It's good comedy. Good comedy. Maybe a Sunday movie, but I'm going to recommend it for Saturday. Anyways, go check it out. Chips is the movie of the day. Keeping the streets safe-ish. We like comedies, and it's a comedy. I think comedy is a dying genre. Too many Karens out there for comedy to coexist with the Karens, so we got to bring it back. The Wayans brothers are bringing it back, so I'm hopeful for a comedy renaissance. Let's see. 88 said it's life. JY's Avenger said I hear traders say if it's safe, there's no trade. 88 said course, tech, medicine. It already has no. Lifespan's growing. Yeah, that's true. I think it's going to get way better, though. JY's Avenger said, and typically that's how it is for me. When I'm on edge, I get more upside. Gets me wrecked a lot, though. But in a bull run, it does work, LOL. That's the thing, too. That's why I liked the... Who was it? Was it Crypto Fergani? Let me go find it really quick. Right here. How trading works. You lose money for 3 years straight, then suddenly in 1 week you make life-changing money and buy an M3 competition. That's basically it. The uptrend amount far outweighs the downtrend amount. So as long as you dollar cost average into the downtrend, that short amount of uptrend time far exceeds any downtrend that you suffer. Or maybe it's a long amount of uptrend time. I believe the uptrend lasts longer than the downtrend. I can't figure out how to work the damn chart. Yeah, look at this. Look at this little itty bitty downtrend. This is ridiculous. To think it's crazy to dollar cost average. Look at this little itty bitty. That right there. That little teeny and then you have all of this. All of this. And this isn't even technically, this is the bad part. You busted out of that, and then you got uptrend from this point forward. All of this is uptrend. So, you know, you get your little bleed out, whatever. Even if you include that, let's include that. Let's include that. What is that? 33% of the time? And then the other 66, 70%. Let's even call it 30% because it looks a little bit less than halfway. 30% of the time you're in a bear market. The other 70% is bull market. Uptrend. I explained this before. The most money I've ever made my entire life was this recovery. Never made more money. Coming out of here. And I dollar cost average, I bought. This whole time I was buying. And then this right here, this monstrosity. I made a ridiculously large amount of money compared to what I normally make. And now I'm sitting on dry powder, and we're potentially entering a 12-month long bear market. We're in month 5 right now. Month 6 comes in April. From the top, specifically. 88 said, I have a stable hold of Bitcoin. My thesis on everything else is if it's not worth buying, it's not worth holding. Well, it all depends on when you started the DCA, right? I mean, if you hold long enough, you'll be in profit. Unless, of course, it actually rugs, but I don't think it will. Look at this. You get DCA all this way, and you would be in profit. Because the amount of time that it was above that price is so small, even if your dollar cost average this whole entire time, you would still be in significant profit. So short-term time frame, obviously, you could get wrecked. Like if you started dollar cost averaging here, you bought right here and you waited, you didn't buy anymore. You bought right here, and then you start dollar cost averaging for some reason, and then and then you're like sitting on a loss. That's a different story. But that's where time in the market beats timing the market. And the amount of time in between these is not long. Relative. This right here, this sucks. Holding for 1,666 days. And having the same exact price. But that's why we don't just buy one time. That's where people sometimes may get screwed, and that sucks. The weekly was oversold. What? I don't remember that. That's crazy. We did... Look at this. This is where my 51.5 comes into play, too. So we got touch, 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 and now we're going for a next attempted touch. We have not quite gotten it yet. When's it going to happen? I have no idea. But you got bear market, you got bear market, you got bear market, and eventually we're going to have probably right here bear market at 51,500. Not financial advice. If that ends up being the bottom, I'm going to be so braggadocious. It's going to be incredibly infuriating for anyone involved. So I'm going to apologize in advance for when I become the most correct man in cryptocurrency, because it is inevitable. I will be very, very right about one thing at least one time, and I'm going to be very annoying about it. Bitcoin 10-year performance. Some analysis indicate total returns exceeding 19,000% to over 48,000 enough said, eh? So that's obviously going to diminish over time, but yeah, that's the idea. Even if that goes to halfway, what's half of 20K is 10,000%? Oh no. You only made 10,000%? That's the greatest privilege on the planet. If 10,000% is underperforming. Lunar Entity said, so to give you an idea of how dominant U.S. credit markets are, pull up EWY and check out 7-8. Pac-Man 579 said China again. Excuse me. 7-8 is the month? What is 7? Oh, the years. Wow. Sorry. Sometimes I'm an idiot. Quite frequently, actually. 0708. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Ooh. This is South Korea ETF. Big Fat Dumperino. 0708. Number go down. You got another one. Big one right here. Big one right here. A little baby one right here. This is 14, 15, 16. This is 18, 20. This is 21, 23. Jeez, it's like every year they get screwed. That's scary. 88 said, right, shit, I'm happy I have 20% annually, lol. Imagine 100%. For real, dude, for real. Have I told you about Snack? I'm just kidding. Eventually, we're going to build a degenerate portfolio, and that would be sick if it outperformed everything. Look at this thing, man. We have not done a portfolio update in so long because it's just bloody depressing. The 1K to 10K Grok portfolio, which, mind you, started out at $1,000, is down about 65%. The meme coin portfolio, oh, geez, hold on, I gotta go log back in, for fuck's sake. We didn't even do the liquidation heat map. It is the weekend, though, so who cares? The 1K to 10K Grok portfolio is down 65. Meme coin portfolio is down, oh my gosh, like 78. The narrative portfolio, which was the best performer, look at that, that's the ampersand and shoulder right there, is down 75. Whoa! Knife catching portfolio is down, oh no, I'm sorry, I lied. Narrative portfolio is down 50, because this is only a $500 portfolio initial investment, so this is only down 50%. It is the best performer, I think. And then here we're down 62.5. Yeah, the narrative portfolio is outperforming 50%. That's actually not bad. Tau is just carrying the entire thing. Fetch is actually performing well too. What's going on with Fetch? What the heck? What? This thing's down $90, which is what, 18%? No, that is 45%. Yeah. Fetch is down over 50. Everything else is down over 50. VeChain's down a lot. Jeez. Wow. I was not expecting that big of a difference. The narrative portfolio is really, Tau is carrying the narrative portfolio. Okay. So what's the significance of this going above 100? Because I feel like it hasn't, like, ever. Since the year 2000, that's crazy. Decentralized AI is starting to become popular again following some centralized drama. Oh, that's fair, that's fair. Is it because of, shutting down their video thing? VeChain got wrecked hard. Sad days. Is it sad? VeChain pivoted way too many times, dude. VeChain, they were a supply chain, and then they did nothing for supply chain, and then they're like, oh, we do AI. Check to see if VeChain increased by 25%. A day should be 120. Yeah, no, that didn't happen. Look at this thing. It had a lower trend line. Beautiful lower trend line. It was playing around in a range. We had a fractal, a concept, an idea, and it all just broke down. They pivoted genres. They tried to flavor of the week themselves, spice themselves up a little bit, and they failed. That's what happens, man. That's why you can't You can't pivot too many times. Look at what happened with Polygon Matic Pole. VeChain and eGold both pivoted way too many times. I think eGold just paid themselves too much. I think they allegedly did some shady things. Jay Adventure said, "Dang, your fractal was what could have been. GG's." That was what originally played out with that big, beautiful uptrend. But you got to capture a narrative, man. You got to capture a narrative and market share. If you can't do that, and you're just riding a trend and a keyword, then that's all you'll ever be, is just a keyword chaser. And nobody likes that. I really think Midnight's like paid manipulation. I feel weird saying that. I feel kind of icky. I do like this double bottom. That looks good for some decent upside. But why would anyone want to buy this? The chain's not even live yet. The mainnet's not even live. The bottom looks decent, though. Nice volume on this lower time frame. Or lower price section. I'm glad it's back above 46. All eyes are on Bitcoin. Is this just going to be another ascending channel breakdown? Lunar Entity said eGold has been annihilated. Let's go check it. EGLD. Been a while. Has not filled the October 10th wick yet. Oh no, that's not even October 10th. That's February. What the hell? There's October. It has not filled that though. Or no, maybe the February one filled it. What? Never would have guessed. Go to the daily. Whoo, what is this? Ohm? What is this? ICP? What else did this? Wow. Let's go check VeChain. Okay, VeChain had a little more fun in the in-between. Ohm is one of my favorite stories, man. It's like the people figured out, they're like, wait a minute, we can sell contracts with like a time lock? And they use that to artificially inflate the price, and some dumb, lucky schmuck that bought down here during all this nonsense. I don't know. I'm assuming one day they just woke up and they were like, oh crap, that thing that I bought in 2022 is worth like $1 billion now, or like 19 million, and they sold. They one clipped the whole thing. And apparently these guys were asleep when it happened, and they were like, what's going on? They just overextended themselves with greed, selling locked tokens on a timetable. And somebody's sitting on it still, I bet. Because this was only 2020. No, it probably happened actually 2025. They probably got access, but they lost so much money. They lost so much money, dude. Oh my gosh. It was like accidental self-sabotage. Crazy what happened with Ohm. Nobody even talks about it anymore. Like it's nothing. Luna gets talked about all the time, but Ohm? Quite possibly the same amount of money was lost. I have no idea. I don't know if we'll ever know. Crazy times, man. Crazy times. Jay Adventure said, I remember when that hit my timeline. The brothers behind eGold aren't that smart. They've invested everything in their dead-end project. Or at least maybe they did that for the optics. Just like people buying Siren. It's crime season. Oh yeah, what did Siren do? That dude, I can't believe that deposit took all night. I cannot believe that. It's up 62% today. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Over and over again, man. That's just extraction. About to do it again. They're doing a good job. They're doing a great job. Manipulating the shit out of this. Look at that, man. Imagine just money printing from this. People are removing liquidity and stuff. Spooky, spooky. Alright, boys. I suppose I need to call it an evening. Go make some chicken or something. Hungry boy. It'd be cool to do an emergency stream soon. Maybe we get some crazy candles coming up. We'll have to see what happens. Mantra was a blip compared to Luna. That's fair. It's pretty high market cap, though. Pippin was the same thing, too. What was the one that I'm thinking of? It was a damn dog. It was a dog. It was a blue dog, and it was on base. I can't remember it. Blaze. Was it Blaze? No. I think it was on base. I don't remember, man. All right. Yeah, we're going to call it. Bitcoin's chilling up 0.62. $66,789. Guys, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like button. As always, when the market starts to do anything crazy. Base NG? Aerobud? No. We'll figure out what it was. Dog and me? No. It was a weird off-cuff. It was like a one day thing. Was it Blazed? It's gonna drive me crazy. Try to figure it out. It'll be in one of my older videos. We watched it live, though. We watched it crash. Like, on the stream. It was crazy. It was one of those ones that went up to like 1 billion. Like, the day that it launched. Like, multi-billion-dollar market cap. For some reason, people don't look at that and go, oh, this is probably a scam. Anyways, guys, as always, when the market starts to do anything crazy or anything at all, I will hop back on. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. Happy Saturday and good night.